It's your show, Bonky. Come on, man.
What's going on, everybody?
Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuning into the Vocal Soapbox, where we harness the power of logic and we teach you how to reason at the highest level. This show is dedicated to help you avoid the pitfalls of fallacious reasoning and notice the sophistry that's going on in the world. Actually help you identify the sophists that help build these institutions that's inside your mind. I am your gracious host, Enos. I'm here with my guys, my esteemed colleagues. I'm going to introduce them. But the first one I'm going to introduce is Will. What's going on, Will?
Oh, man, chilling, brother. How are you, man? How y'all doing?
Man, doing fine, man. Glad you on. What's going on, Cabby?
Man, I'm doing wonderful today, brother. How y'all doing today?
Man, we're doing all right, man. Glad you have you on.
Good.
First time guest. And my guy, Victor / Accountable Masculinity. What's up, bro? Yeah.
I come equipped with my own applause, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a pleasure to be back. You know what I'm saying? Run it up, talk that talk, man. Let's get busy, man.
That's what's up. And the guy itself, while we do the show, go by many names, logos. We know him on this show as Vulcan. Talk to the people, man. What's going on, man?
What's up, all the folks out there? Thanks for tuning into the show. Like, subscribe, share. We like to dive a little deeper than the average people in this world right now on different topics. So y'all tune in, ask questions, chime in, agree, disagree. If you want to be on the panel, let us know. Let's go.
All right, let's go, man. In today's topic, you want to introduce the topic? I just give a brief. We all know what happened last week. Charlie Kirk was assassinated, murdered, and we're gonna have an interesting dialogue and see different perspectives and explore different ideas about our opinions on how we look at this situation. So the first question, what's up, my guy Franco?
Welcome. I'm back.
All right, he's back. All right, so I'm gonna just go into the first question, man. I'm gonna ask the panel. Has Charlie Kirk displayed racism? First, I'm gonna ask everybody to say yes or no. Once you give your yes or no answers, we're gonna come back around for you to explain. I'm gonna start with my guy Franco. Has Charlie Kirk displayed racism? Yes or no? Oh, he went out. All right, let's go with my guy Will. Has Charlie Kirk displayed racism? Yes or no?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to my guy Cabby.
Yes, he definitely has.
All right, Victor.
No.
Vulcan.
I'm going to say no, sir.
All right, so 2 yeses. Okay, 2 no's.
Yeah.
All right,
Let's
so
go.
Frankie is out. So I'm gonna bring my man Willie here.
Well, hold on real quickly. I want to say this so everybody in the audience can hear it and on the panel. I already told everybody else on the panel, but Will, if you got a certain video or clip that you want Enos to pull up to make your point, if you think he's referenced something where you have an example of where he was racist, something like that, or anything that you're going to talk about, you want to prove the point, you can ask Enos to pull it up for you. Let's go.
Cool. Oh, but yeah. My bad. Back to the question, man. Y'all know how I get, man. I'm gonna try to get to the point.
We're gonna help you. We got you, bro.
Already, man. Yeah, man. If I try to can sum it up as quickly as possible, I would say, yeah. He has displayed racism, man. I think him not doing his due diligence enough for me, and that's something I might get into later, but he was a great speaker, and I think he was a wise man, and he understood enough about the political system and the way things operate.
Well, shout out to for the audience. Me and Will actually talked about this in the background, and just to help, I'm gonna make the attempt to still man what you're saying. Charlie Kirk is an intelligent person, so a lot of the rhetoric that he was spewing, you might. It's safe to say you could press his attention that he might have been practicing or displaying racism because he might have been misquoting or spewing a lot of stuff that was not factual.
Yeah, man, to
That's
be able to quote statistics the way he can, and knowing that he's going out speaking to certain students and putting out information, you're in a very powerful position.
Okay.
You know, I think
we're going to move it on. I wanted
all right.
So everybody could be on the same page with you saying. Let me bring it to my guy Cavi. Because you said yes, he did display. So if you can explain why. For example,
what I'll say as far as the racism that he definitely did display is he denied the existence of systematic racism, and he called white privilege a racist idea. You know, so when you actually deny the existence of systematic racism, that in itself is racist. Period. To act like it doesn't exist is asinine. And it's a couple of times where he got on the mic and he actually kind of debunked his own claim of denying racism or this whole white privilege thing is a racist, thing. When he said at one time, he said that he claimed that America was less racist today than it is in the 1960s. For you to say that America is less racist today, that proves that America is racist today. Just because I say, I'm going slower, I'm going 35 miles an hour right now. Okay, I'm going slower. I'm going 34 miles an hour right now. It's only 1 mile per hour difference. You can't really feel the difference, can you? So at the end of the day, that's why I say that, yeah, he definitely did spew some racist points, definitely. And I don't know if that was because of if that was purposely done or out of ignorance.
Okay. All right.
Man, I need to bring you around with me, man, and just be like, yo, tap you on the shoulder and be like, yo, man, tell him that right there, bro. I couldn't have said it any better. That's what I was saying right there, bro.
Right.
Straight up.
Don't forget about Frank,
What I'm going to do, I'm going to bring, you said what? Welcome?
I said, don't forget about Frank.
Yeah. I'm about to bring Frank because we already know that Victor, and for the question, Frank, has Charlie Kirk displayed racism? Yes or no? Go ahead and just say if it's yes or no for yourself.
Yes, I mean, obviously.
All right. So yes, just keep it really concise. We got moving around.
Yes.
What's your reasons why?
What the brother said before me is simple. Be quick and concise. I think that to elaborate what he said, to put out information and to not do your homework is obviously evil in my sense because of how he's approaching it. You having dialogue at a university with students versus the professors. You're an educated 31-year-old and you're challenging 22 and 18-year-olds mentally when they're just getting out of their parents' home. They're kind of figuring their way out. They're susceptible. But I believe, in my opinion, that's on purpose. They want to try and change the minds of those young people earlier. And what I believe, and this could be checked, I'm almost done. Let me finish this thought because we all know that people are not fully developed until they're 25. Is that fair to say? That's been proven and talked about, developing a mind. So we all challenge and grow, and we all different when we were 25. So if you really want to make a change in America, you really want to be effective, you want to deal with people where they are. So it should have been a young person approaching them where they are, not an older person trying to manipulate them with thoughts and ideas and to try to, so that was all shiesty. It was done in an unauthentic way, therefore being evil.
All right. So I get to these comments. Let's get right into it. Victor, talk to us, man. You said no. What's up, man?
Yeah, it's no because he was just honest about his opinion, and we too sensitive because there's plenty of people that don't like us. And I didn't see what he said where he said he hated us. I believe that people that are outright true racists have no problem. They don't veil it. They can, because like what racists do, racists have a strategy. Okay. They know who they have in their arsenal. They don't have to entertain people that can't defeat them. So it'll be different if he was cooning with us and trying to tap dance with us and then going to go manipulate us. So that's what I always see. People playing a betrayal game. He never made any allegiance to anyone but his own audience.
Okay. All right. Vulcan.
What's up, my people? So for me, as I said, I would say from what I've seen, no. I didn't follow Charlie Kirk very closely, but obviously his stuff pops up online. And anybody who's likes to surf the web and social media, you're gonna see his material. And I've seen a lot of the stuff that he said. I didn't agree with everything, but I can't say that I saw him say anything that was like inherently or conspicuously racist. And so I'm gonna rely on the people who believe he was racist to, put this stuff up. We can put the videos up and we can all go through it and see for ourselves as we dialogue. So I'm gonna say no, I didn't see anything that way. That's why I'm saying he didn't display racism because I haven't seen him do that.
All right, so
and that's to me that's different than whether he actually was racist or not.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So Fred, you got something you disagree?
No, I think we should, before we go forward, we should define what racism is.
All right, go ahead and start it off.
We should get a definite. I don't want to. I want to somebody pull it up, read it, make sure we all agree what racism is, because it's going to be hard to have a pen and me saying something if we don't agree on what racism is.
Well, let me say this, but before we pull it up, and I'm not against pulling up if that's what everybody wants to do, especially Enos, but I know we've all had these conversations before in our own private lives. I've had the conversations about the definition of racism 1,000 times for the last how long we've been doing this, having this argument, for 20 plus years.
Yeah, 20 plus.
And so it's probably better if we all just say our definitions, because I don't think we're going to ever be able to agree on this panel.
Well, but I'm saying that makes it part, like you can't have, if we don't, that's part of why we're having a search about Kirk and where we stand and trying to have this, because if we don't all have an understanding of the basis, we're just kind of shooting in information, meaning that if my definition of racism is different than yours, then racism, we can never really have a conversation. It's like we have to agree that 2 + 2 is 4 to be able to say that math answer is wrong. And racism does have some words in that definition that we can all have a consensus at least on to be able to identify and point to. Because, like I said,
okay, let's do it. We'll do it. We'll pull it up. But I just want to say, I just don't think we're going to end up agreeing. I don't think we'll end up agreeing if we post it, but it'll be good to base it off of.
I think the way everybody respond as far as he's racist, I think we could do a good job. Just
share a screen.
I don't want to bring up the definition. Just when you said Charlie Kirk was racist, just tell us how you define it. Let's just do that. Start.
Yeah, we can all go around and give our definitions, and then we can all just hear it.
Yeah, and come to a common.
I don't mind going first if y'all want me to go first. I guess I'll start.
I mean, look, go ahead, Volk. You already up there.
Yeah, I'll go first just to get it going. So for me, the definition of racism would be having an unjustifiable bias against other races. The same as, so all I'm doing is taking the ism of race. If you put ism with sex, it'd be an unjustified bias towards the different sex. If you put a speciesism, it'd be the unjustifiable bias against a different type of species. So I'm just taking the words as etymological base.
Okay. All right. Let me. So since we all agree that, can we all agree that's the definition of racism?
No, right now,
absolutely.
We're about to go right now. We're about to go around right now. Everybody got to get the definition.
All right, let's go ahead. Go ahead, Victor.
Racism is the ability to impact and negatively impact someone else's life and opportunities, and and impede them, like being able to, I guess in essence, blackball them based off of their skin.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Cavi.
Pretty much all I would say is just prejudice towards a different group is pretty much what that is. So, or pretty much like my man said, you're kind of critiquing one group, not critiquing your group, or you're kind of critiquing one group. I'll kind of get on what I'm saying a little bit later. It's a little bit more than what I can say right here, but go ahead to the next person.
Will.
Yeah, I think all of the above, man. Everything y'all just said, along with, I guess, as levels to it, but the individual knows themselves, who they are. And I think even if you're not enacting it upon somebody, I would say speaking to it is a part of it. Even if there's no real action, if you're having certain conversations and you're not trying to
A belief.
yeah, it's definitely a belief because it starts there with how you actually feel, but you know, to have a desire to maybe you know, see those people as less
Hold on.
than or be discriminatory against them. Yeah, that's a part of it.
Where's Frank? I think Frank. Oh, I pulled Frank back on. All right, so I'm gonna go over this definition. Hey, what's going on? Can't even pull Frank on. All right, so the definition for racism is a belief that race is fundamental determinant of the race of the human traits.
Can you just read the definition, because it's like you're kind of going in and out and it's kind of choppy.
All right, hold on.
Let me read it.
Yeah, let Victor read it if you don't mind.
Yeah. Definition of racism: a belief that race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities, that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race.
All right, Frank, we got the definition up.
Yeah, read that one more time. Just read it one more time, just so I can make sure.
Racism, a belief that a race is a fundamental determinant of human traits and capacities, that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. Meaning, like, you got some traits and characteristics about your race that makes you think that your people are better than you than other people.
Tracking, yep.
Now, can you and me go ahead and just start talking into this since I'm already on it?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Like, the reason I said racism is you have to have the power to influence and strip away other people's opportunity in order to be an inherent racism. And not only that, not just do it, but not get penalized for doing it. Because if you own the system that you believe that, you know, that ensures it, then of course you are. But I also think of it like this: I would not expect the minority to have the majority of control in any other circumstance. So it's kind of like you can't have the least amount of resources and think that you can make the rules. I think that is from my own shared experience throughout the world where I've traveled and where I've been, because if any of you, regardless of your ethnicity, they're going to see you as an American, they're going to treat you according to their laws. You know what I'm saying? If you leave this country to go somewhere else, you're going to think one thing because of how you've been raised here in this country, but they're going to deal with you based on the laws and culture of another country. So I think regionally speaking, even down to regions, right? I've seen black people give green lights to non-black people to use the N-word. And I'm from the South and we ain't finna do that. You know what I'm saying? So, but I've seen it on the East Coast and I've seen it on the West Coast, you know? So even then, black people haven't even come to a unified definition of what they believe racism actually is either.
All right, Victor, let's get Calvin here.
Okay. All right. So when we talk about, for one thing, we define racism, and racist is two totally different things. Race is characterized by showing prejudice, pretty much. That's why I said the word prejudice. All right. So prejudice in itself is a preconceived opinion that is not based in reason or actual experience. And that's what Charlie Kirk is a person who came up with this opinion about black people and about black issues, and he's never experienced it because he's not a black person. You understand what I'm saying, Vic? It's like, if you're not a black person, you haven't experienced it. How dare you speak on it? You know, to say that white supremacy or a racist, the systematic racism that goes on in this country is not real, and you're saying that out of the mouth of a white man and out of the experience of a white man is utterly ridiculous. It makes no sense. Like, you have no way or no reason to speak like that, because you're speaking illogically. You know what I'm saying? Because you haven't lived that life. That's like me saying, oh, well, white supremacy doesn't exist. Well, how the hell do I know? I'm a black man. You know what I'm saying? So I haven't really seen it. You know, I haven't seen it out of a black person's lens, is what I'm saying. I haven't seen it out of a white person's lens. I've only seen it out of a black person's lens. So white superiority to me is something totally different to white superiority to them. You know,
Okay.
I mean, how do they view the world?
Let's get it around. I'm gonna bring Frank here, but first let me get to the comments. Only Facts and Stats said, I say no, he didn't show racism. What he did was use race as a tool to ignite conversations because he knew that he was speaking to sensitive people. Shout out to Only Facts and Stats. Also, who else is on here? Help the Bear says, the comments are just rolling in. Help the Bear said, he said less more than likely because he can't actually say there is no racism today. Shout out to Help the Bear. Also, Robin Wallace says, be careful, don't laugh or show no empathy. The man is dead and people are being fired and taken. Was talking about him.
Yeah.
Be alert and cautious. Shout out to Robin Wallace. I'm gonna go ahead and bring Frankie here. We got the definition up. Anything you want to add? Any disagreements to anybody?
No, and thank you for guys for putting the definition up. That means I feel more comfortable when I make my points. We'll be on the same accord because based on the definition and what the brother just said, Charlie Kirk provided prejudice, meaning that he spoke a lot of stereotypes. He wasn't ingratiated with the culture, so he showed a extreme amount of prejudice. And prejudice combination with power. What do I say he has power? He's part of what the other brother said. He's part of the majority. So he has a majority of followers and people that he's influencing. He has connections to the presidency, to the senator, to the FBI, to the DOJ, the Attorney General of the United States. The governor was about to go slide for him. You know what I'm saying? That's how much connected power he has. So you got prejudice and you got power. And then also, too, the best part about it is the belief. He really believed this stuff because they were tying all that stuff into Christ and Christianity with their Christian nationalists. So I think that based on the definition, based on prejudice, being that he's and if we want to be serious, I'll give you a stereotype. He talks about black women being uneducated. That's a stereotype. I mean, that's just a generalization that will be unintelligent if I said that about anybody. If I said white people are stupid, that would be a prejudice statement. That would be a stereotype because we know that that's the general statement that couldn't be true. So he makes comments like that about everybody being DI, and then to tie into that power, those things that he started off saying previously and making this big push. He was one of the first people to come out and say that the civil rights was a bad thing.
You got a lot of points. You touched on.
I'm trying to make sure I got my stuff together. I just want to make sure somebody come back. I got all my, my stuff.
We just got to get everybody. One thing I'm noticing with Frank and Calvin and Victor, they all attach the power dynamic with racism. That's interesting. Hey, Volker, do you got anything you want to say? Any disagreements, any agreements, or what?
Well, I definitely disagree with the definitions of racism that include power in the dynamic. Mm-hmm. That's why my definition, I mentioned speciesism and sexism, because unless you believe that women can't be sexist, then you can't believe that racism is only a power dynamic. You know, the same thing goes with speciesism. Somebody having an unjustifiable bias against a certain species as opposed to a different one. That would be the same thing, unless you're going to say how you're going to apply power dynamics. Whenever you put power in one ism, but not the other ism, as the integral part of the definition, what you're doing is a special pleading. You said, well, it doesn't apply here, but it does apply here because I just like it that way. And I'm
confused on what he's saying. I need to more.
Okay, sorry, go ahead, Frank. Go ahead, Frank.
I don't understand what you're saying. Like, okay. You kind of lost me. Let's try and explain it like a little more with a more concept of depth, because I don't understand how you shifted from racism and power and taking out the definition. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's part of what we read, and that's part of how racism became, because there's different words for different things, meaning that racism is a combination of the beliefs, prejudice, and power, because if you take it out, you're just prejudice or bias. No, I don't understand. Like, I'm saying, like, I don't understand what he's saying, because if we're looking at the definition, I guess what I'm trying to say,
what's the question?
If Vulcan is saying that the definition that we read, he's not applying that to what he's saying, that makes sense. But if he's saying that based on what we read, he's taking the power dynamics out of it and saying that that's the reason why it's not racism, or it's not what we're saying it is, that doesn't make sense because that's part of what makes it racism is the power dynamic. Meaning that you have to have power because black people can be saying a lot of bad stuff.
I disagree.
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand that. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand.
That's what I'm disagreeing. I don't believe you're ever going to see a linguist, an etymologist communicate that the definition of racism has to do with a power dynamic. You only see that from potentially like a sociologist or some type of lawyer.
And that's what I'm saying. But I'm trying to say, hold on. What I'm trying to say is that's what I'm saying. That's taking it, like when you start adding those things, that's confusing me because I'm trying to say with racism, now you're talking about different languages, how we interpret language. I'm saying like you can do that and give that all to stretch it out and we'll never be able to have a consensus on what we're talking about. Because I'm saying like, that's kind of, I don't understand how we get into how you define the word and language.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my point is that I'm rejecting the definitions that include power in it because that's not intellectually honest. If you take any word, we learned how to deal with words when we were kids. You know how to find the derivative of a word, the root word, race. You can look that up, and you can look up what ism does to a word. Whether any word you put there, whether it's race or laptop, ism, whatever you put there, the rules apply for every single word. So anytime somebody says, I'm gonna insert power into racism, that's a special pleading. They're saying, well, this word is so different, we're gonna put power in this one, but the other isms, we're not gonna put power into it. That's intellectually dishonest. And you're not gonna see an etymologist do that because that'd be using the words in an unfair way. That's not the way you do scholarship on words. Now, a sociologist may do it as a talking point, but go ahead.
I'm saying that's wrong based on what you just said. That
that's
you talk about sexism. Sexism has power in it. That's part of what makes it sexism. That they're saying that men can use their influence because the majority to make women do the thing. That is a form of power. You know what I'm saying? Like what you're saying.
In your analogy.
No, not my analogy. Your analogy based on what you said. That if you put, go ahead, brother, in the corner. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like.
Hold on, Victor. You was about to respond, Vogel, to that statement, right?
Yeah, no, like no.
Go ahead, go ahead, Victor.
Because I'm with Frank.
Okay.
You have to look at what is locally accepted and what can people actually learn. Most people are not an etymologist. You know what I'm saying? And and power has to be part of it, or it has no effectiveness. Because I understand there's a difference between being prejudiced, bigoted, and actual racist. You know what I'm saying? Like a bigot can just like leave a house and decide they don't like somebody for whatever particular choice they don't like them, right? And a prejudiced person is very similar to it, but how they choose to act on it is something else. And then when they choose to act on it, then that's what makes them a racist, in my opinion, because they have an ability to negatively impact somebody's life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Remember a few years ago when the Suns owner got in all that nonsense with talking about his girlfriend was recording him and saying that he recorded him saying all these negative things about black people, right? I don't want you talking to a black guy. That dude's a racist because he got the power to impact people that, you know, like, because they lived in, because he owned some real estate and he was like, yo, I could change the price, you know what I'm saying, the price point. That type of person, that's what I see as an actual supremacist. You know, like
the owner of the Clippers.
The owner of the Clippers, right? That's what it was.
Yeah.
And that type of person can impact people's outcomes. You know what I'm saying? Can impact their incomes and their outcomes. Somebody that like a police officer or certain institutions, people that deliberately use their position to impact other people, those people are racist to me. Okay. Other people are just bigots because, like, in general, there's some black people that don't like black people. And they do the same thing to each other like everybody else. So we have to define it. Like, yeah, so power has to be part of it, because if most of these people that like to throw around the word racist work for one and they won't say nothing to them.
All right, so let's bring in Vulcan. Give your response to Frank and Victor.
Well, quite simply, if you look up the definition of race and then you look up the definition of ism and then you put them together, that's what the word literally means. To Victor's point, colloquially, racism means more than that. Like Frank is saying, it means a system. It has to do with a power dynamic. I get how we use it. I'm just saying the technical word, if you go to talk to the etymologist, you just type in your chat GPT race, then type in your chat GPT ism, and then you put them together. You're not going to come up with a power dynamic. That's not a part of ism. It's not a part of race. I'm not going to stand. We can move on past this conversation, but I want the audience to hear. You need to know how to be able to do basic etymological stuff with words on your own, so that people can't just tell you what words mean. This goes to prefix and suffix and root word. We learned that stuff back then. Now, if we get into a sociology, I'm 10 seconds left on this. If we get into like a conversation about sociological, about how it applies, which is Victor's talking about, if you want to add power to it, that's fine. But I think people need to know that that's an extra layer that's not found in the actual words. That's a societal framework being placed in the etymology of that's not there on its own.
I got a question though. Like, what is the power though? Exactly. Like when you define it, like what is the power and what is the action to make it more than just bigoted or prejudice as opposed
the prejudice bigoted stuff, I wasn't a fan of the prejudice bigot stuff because if somebody, and you find there's people that grew up in Hispanic homes. I was talking to a lady recently where her family, and I've talked to white families, the same thing. Their family was racist. The thing is, they never knew their family was racist until they heard their family talk about it at the table. They never saw any kind of outward manifestation, and these people were just regular people. They weren't the bosses. They didn't have any power that you can speak of in their white communities. Their children found out their parents were racist, had an unjustifiable bias against black people through conversations as they started to date. That was it. They're still racist, even though they haven't acted any kind of power. That's what I'm saying. Power is an additional aspect to the definition. It's not integral to it, etymologically speaking.
And I feel like the exact power, because I guess I'm talking about a different type of power. When I'm talking about the action, I'm talking about the act of, I guess, speaking to someone or giving them that type of energy. Like, where do you pick up the racism at? Because some people say it's learned. You know, you're born. It's not nothing that's inherently given to a baby.
Let me say this real quick, Will, and I want Frank to come in on this way. So my point I'm making with this, and it's going to be real short, is just saying that if a person doesn't speak or act, we don't have the technology as of yet to know that they're actually racist. That's why you have to see an action. That's where action comes into play, because how are we going to know if somebody's loving or hateful or racist if they don't say or do anything? That's where the action or the words come into play.
And that's where I see it at, the act of speaking to someone that what you picked up that is a prejudice toward another human being. I think especially now in this day and time, you know, you know there's a certain level of, I guess, respect. So where did you learn the behavior? Number one, if you're speaking it to a child or somebody who's questioning, to me that's acting and displaying it with power, because the power to manipulate and perpetuate and keep the cycle of this racism going and not treat everybody like a so-called brother here on the planet. To me, that's very powerful right there, even if you're not a part of the ruling class. Let
me get both to respond. What do you say that the power is in just the power of the words? That's what Will is saying.
So this whole power thing gets really dicey because, you know, if you talk about Barack Obama or LeBron James, these are black men that have the power. They have, you know, Charlemagne as well. You hear Andrew Schultz told Charlemagne this on the show. There are black people. I've owned businesses. I have the power to practice racism against another race if I so chose in my positions that I've had throughout my life, at least for the last 15 years. So my point is just saying this. Anybody can be racist. The power dynamic is not just global, you know, it's global or just confined to a continent or a country or a city. It can be just in your area. If you can have power for whatever reason it is, you know, and so then you're having this philosophical debate on, is this really power? Is it not? I mean, he has power in the neighborhood, but not, he doesn't have power at his job. It starts to get real weird philosophically. That's why I think that's very inconsistent thinking. And I'll give the floor back to Will or Frank.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like. My bad.
I'm gonna move around. Let me bring Calvin, and I want Frank to go after that. Calvin, what's your thoughts?
Let's go, moderator.
Okay, so you know, I think we're getting a little stuck on the word or definitions of things, and instead of approaching the actual subject matter at hand. And what we're talking about is Charlie Kirk racist, or has he displayed racism? You know, and like I said, when it comes to him denying systematic racism, and I can give you an example of that, right? So I'll just give you an example in my personal life. What I've seen is systematic racism. When I was working blue collar as a young man, I worked for Coca-Cola down here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And in Charlotte, North Carolina, what you would notice is that the floor, the people actually doing all the hard work in Coca-Cola were people who were black and brown, people who were of color. We're talking somewhere between 90-95% of the floor were black and brown. But when you went to managerial positions or management positions, what you saw was emphatically everyone was white. No one was black. That is systematic racism, people. And as we know, all CEOs, all people who are top of Fortune 500 companies, all those things, 85% of those jobs are ran by white men. Okay. Do y'all understand that? Like the importance of those numbers? Like it's a real thing. To deny it is just utterly ridiculous and stupid. To deny that. You cannot deny that. It's a reality. It is what it is. And we are talking about in business. We are talking about economically. And that's where black people struggle the most, is economically. You know, so when you're economically locked out of something, and these gentlemen that I'm talking about who were management in Coca-Cola were not educated. You had people who were on the floor who couldn't find a job somewhere else, who had engineering degrees, who had IT certs and IT degrees, had teaching degrees, things like that, who were more qualified than them education-wise, but they had some dumbass white dude above them as a manager who could barely speak the king's language. And what I mean by that is they're talking with this country accent and they could barely speak the king's language. And you have to work for some idiot because he has this color on his skin.
All right,
that's systematic racism, and he denied that. So yes, he's racist.
I'm gonna bring on first. I'm gonna read a comment. It says maybe I'm behind. Oh, Help the Bear said we are getting stuck on definition of racism. This is exactly what Vocus said from the beginning, shaking my head. Also, maybe because BP don't have the qualifications. You ever think about that? How many applications have they received from BP? You don't have.
Let me answer that to Antoine. Let me answer that to Antoine. So we found that out by discussion amongst each other because we looked at the job descriptions and the prerequisites to get that job, and it never mentioned any type of qualifications. See, in Coca-Cola, pretty much you're just pretty much going up the ladder as you work. So what they would find is they would find this slow ass white boy that couldn't do his job properly on the floor. And to get his slow ass out of the damn way, they would put him in a nice air-conditioned office out of the way. So all the people of color who can work and who do work well could do all the work while he just sat his ass up there and made a big ass salary. So Antoine, what I'm saying is this is an experience, not just my experience, but this is a lot of black people's experience that have worked in blue collar. To deny that, and for Charlie Kirk to deny that, he's an idiot. And yes, that is a racist. That is a racist person for being an idiot, speaking like that, because he's never experienced it. He's never experienced it as a white man, so he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
All right, so let me bring one more comment in there. Only Facts and Stat says, bro, Coca-Cola in that location were racism, but it's not systematic racism unless it's supported by law or public policy. Shout out to
he is aware that the white man has made law where there's always a fucking back door to his law. He's never going to make a law that there's no back door to it. That's stupid.
All right, Cabby. So listen, Vulcan did say a lot of interesting points. I want Frank to respond to him, but first, I just haven't seen anybody really attempt to stillman Vulcan to really explain what he's actually saying, so we can figure out what's the real disagreement. So, if Frank, can you go ahead and attempt to stillman what Vulcan was saying earlier as far as the definitions of racism? And we got
I will. I don't think I can because I don't. I think we just gotta let that go.
Right. How about we just do it? We just go ahead and go to the since. Let's. I think we should just go. Yeah, we're gonna go to the next question. Then.
I thought Frank, you'd have a point you wanted to make.
Yeah, I was gonna just add that. That threw me off. Where was I at? What was I gonna say?
I got you, Vic.
We were talking about. I wrote down my notes, see if I could get it. Okay, I apologize. I lost where I was going to start it into, but I was just basically listening to everyone. And when Vulcan was talking about it, I started to think that because we don't know the definition or we can't get it. That is why I feel that some racism and actions against us persist. And that's why we have a Charlie Kirk, if that makes sense, because there's a window of us not really knowing what's going on with us, and they can get in. And then I don't want to be long, but a few notes I was saying, like, for example, when Vulcan was talking about, he don't see the power and dynamic, but I will use these little things real quick. I wrote down, like, Charlie Kirk specifically.
Hold on, I didn't say that. I didn't say that, but go ahead.
Oh, well,
I didn't say I didn't see. I didn't say I didn't see.
Okay, well, it was something along the nature of, like, not having power. Kirk, I guess she was a no on the Kirk being a racist or displaying racism or something like that. So, but I was saying that with that being said about the power dynamics is that he's able to qualify and talk about DEI, but never say anything about nepotism. And nepotism, when we're talking about businesses and all those things, are so prevalent and so important to how people get these positions, but yet DEI is bad, but nepotism never said anything. And then Charlie Kirk's going to these college campuses talking about DEI, but legacy admissions take up. I'm almost.
No, I know you understand. I want to deal with point by point. So let's get the chance to everybody on the panel to just address the first point, and then we get to DEI. Let's get Victor to respond to what Frank just said.
But I was going to get it all together for you.
Yeah, I want everybody to. We can bring it back to you for the second point.
I look at it like this.
With the nepotism and stuff.
Nepotism has always existed. Like, you're supposed to put your people in place. That's what we talk about with generational wealth. And I understand that part of their nepotism came from burning out, like multiple black communities and all that stuff, right? And we rebuilt them. Like I'm addressing them as we go. But I look at things like this. I don't expect the people. We don't even look out for our own families. We won't even put our own families together, and we'll point to everybody that's outside of us. If we said the same things to each other that people outside of our race said to us, we still don't want to listen. And I think that when we tell people to sweep their own front,
like what? Like example, please.
I would say, like, the way that we treat each other on a level of violence. I know crime is part of whatever, element that just comes with people living around.
Who the hell is we?
No,
you're talking about you're talking about a minority of black people. Can I finish my point? I'm talking about the narrative. You're spewing bullshit right now is what you're spewing.
No, because you cut me off and you're not letting me finish it. What I'm saying is we get beat down with our own shit, our own complaints. So number one, we got to make our conversations more private if we care about solving the problem. That way, nobody can use our conversations and our issues against us. You see what I'm saying? And when it comes down to what they use, of course they're gonna do everything in their favor. That's why I said off top, whatever we think is racism is just them just being truly honest. And what we have to do is not give any ammo to people that don't have our best interest in mind, and I think that until we do that, then we gotta deal with the aftermath of it, period. Because you can't load like, for the sake of conversation, you can't load your oppressor's gun and then be mad when they shoot at you.
Okay, all I'm saying.
Sound like you saying you displayed it, man. It sounds like you.
Okay.
Don't twist my words. Don't do that. And that's the problem, because that's what y'all complaining about right now. He twisted y'all words, and you just did it just then.
So Vic, we've talked about this. We talked about this. People have let this algorithm get out of control.
Let me finish.
And you know that most black people are not harming black.
No, this is my point. No, let me finish my point.
You gotta mute him, so then pick who's gonna talk.
Let me finish my point. Okay. What I just captured right then and there, even though Will was playing, that's what they do to us. We got to stop doing that to each other.
All right.
That's the point.
All right. So let's bring Volk in here. Go ahead. You want to go ahead get your response, Calvi, and then
what I have explained to Vic multiple times in the background and on phone calls and things like that. It's like I said to him, stop letting your goddamn algorithm get you in trouble. People are letting these algorithms get in you. You guys are doom scrolling, and when you are doom scrolling, you are looking for a certain result to come across your phone. So what happens there is that when you are looking for something bad about black people and you sit there and you watch that clip for more than 30 seconds, I've taught this Negro this. When you sit there and you watch that, it's going to continuously feed you that bullshit until you stop doom scrolling. I'm sorry. Until you stop screaming, until you stop scrolling.
I
So at the
study
end of the day, because the numbers will never tell you that most black people hurt black people.
I know that.
Will never tell you that. It will tell you a very small amount, a very small percentage
3%.
of black people hurt and do harm to black people. So what are we talking about, Vic? What are we talking about here?
Hey, y'all,
we're talking about this very small percentage of people, the minority.
Just for the sake of the clip, you know, Frank, you know, I want to say this real quick, then Frank, you go. So it says, has Charlie Kirk displayed racism? I just want to make sure the panel remembers that you can pull up video. If you got a video that proves that he was racist, we would love to see it and be able to break it down together. Go ahead, Frank.
From the left.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. When we were talking about the algorithm and all that type of stuff, I was going to say there is method to the madness, and what I mean by that, there are studies that you can look at, and I'll get those and share that with you. But there's studies that show that's what's being put out there, and we can look at that with our naked eye. For example, the latest tragedy with Charlie Kirk, the New York Post put on there a picture of him and his family. How allegedly killed him, what went wrong type thing, a little soft thing. And then you scroll down, black man kills lady, bash her over the head. Those type things are always prevalent to us. The news, we're 13% of the population, and most of the crimes that they talk about is done between the age groups of like 18 to like 30 or 34, something like that, which is even smaller population of us as a total. And that's what they put on the news, meaning that if you look at your local news, you'll see everybody gets killed, everybody gets shot. But we look on the major national news, it's what black people did. And that is part of what they're doing intentionally, because it goes back to racism and power. And I'm almost done. The racism and power is that if you put that out there and you say these things in news, and then you have a Charlie Kirk come and say these fallacies, you can connect that dot and people can believe that. And then people could treat us as subhuman, don't think we need benefits, don't think we need SNAP or other benefits. And I'm last thing I'll say, and SNAP's a good way to step off with this, meaning that SNAP is something that they believe black people are all on, but majority of the people on it are white people, and white people benefit from it and live in poor states like West Virginia, Kentucky, and Arkansas.
All right. So, and this for the future and for the audience, like you saw earlier where Victor and Cal was going back and forth. I'm just ask y'all, just remember, state your disagreement, make that clear for the audience, and focus on the disagreement so we can move around, make it easier for us to follow what's going on. Volker, you got anything you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to challenge the people on the panel and the audience, people who says that he did something racist, said something racist, whatever it is, to put a video where their idea is and tell Enos what video to tell Enos what video to put up where he's saying racist things, so we can evaluate it if you really believe that.
Okay.
Full context too, not clips.
All right, let's just go ahead and do this video here, and then we got Victor video after this one.
Moment is a very McCarthyite moment right now. I've been listening to your show. You made a lot of good points. The biggest point I think you've glossed over is the crackdown on free speech, this targeting of people for their views. I thought Charlie Kirk was supposed to be a free speech martyr. Why are the right using his death to crack down on free speech and American rights and go after this amorphous left? J.D. Vance lied today on the Charlie Kirk show when he said the statistics are clear that this is a left-wing problem. It's the exact reverse. right? Exact reverse. You look at the ADL Center for Extremism, which looked at 444 people killed by extremists between 2013 and 2022, 75% of them by the right. You look at the University of Maryland study that was done for their terrorism center, which found that from 1948 to 2018, right-wing extremists more likely to carry out violence than left-wing extremists. You look at the head of the FBI, who Donald Trump appointed, Chris Wray, who said the #1 domestic terror threat in this country comes from religious and racially motivated extremists, specifically white supremacists. You can keep going. The National Institute for Justice found that the majority of incidents since 1990, violent terroristic acts, were right-wing extremists.
I think you muted.
The single biggest day of political violence, Chris, in our lifetimes in this country was January 6th, 2021, when right-wing extremists attacked the Capitol, injured police officers. They were ideologically motivated. You and I agreed it was an insurrection at the time. So it's bizarre for Vance to go on TV or go online and say the exact opposite of what both the official statistics say and the think tanks say. All of our evidence tells us. I mean, there was a Democratic lawmaker, Chris, I don't know how many times we have to say this, who was murdered in her home with her husband in June by a Trump supporter. And Donald Trump today said, who? When he was asked about it, he said, who?
So, Mehdi, one quick thing. I do not think January 6th was an insurrection. I thought that it was all kinds of crimes.
You said it at the time, Chris.
I just don't.
You called it an insurrection at the time. You did.
No,
I checked your Twitter before I came on
thought.
Okay,
go ahead, show it to me. But I never thought that they were trying to take over the government. That's what an insurrection is. But it doesn't matter. It was bad.
All right, Franco, this is the video you wanted to play?
Yep, and I could tie it all in for you.
Okay.
And I'll be quick. He basically just went over all the things that Kirk, and as far as the free speech thing, but the violence is the key part that I wanted to bring up as far as racism, and when I'm showing you that the whole lot of them are racist. When all this stuff happened and they found out the shooter was going on, there were HBCUs and black universities that were on alert and was receiving bomb threats. All the violence is on the right, but once it happened, they automatically came out like cockroaches when the lights came on, with their racism attacking black people. And then on top of that, Trump, with this going on, said that, hey, you know, Charlie Kirk's dead or whatever, we're going to stop funding HBCUs because they're creating terrorists or creating wokeness or whatever. So they're going to stop funding black universities. That is the epitome of racism. There you go.
Okay. All right. So I played this video because I thought this was related to the Charlie Kirk displaying racism. Unfortunately,
nobody said that.
Ties to it. If you listen to the whole video, it's like 46. If you tie into the community, it's talking about what he says, meaning that Charlie Kirk is a person that was divisive, saying a lot of things, right? And then people had not pleasant things to say about him or going on to him. And I'm saying the response to what's going on, instead of being about free speech, let's come together and talk and dialogue, they went to try and kill us. Say, let's go ahead and shoot them and kill them. That's what they said. When Charlie Kirk was shot, the response to that from the right, from the people on Charlie Kirk's side, was to kill us.
What did Charlie Kirk say about the insurrection or the violence on the Capitol on January 6th?
I don't have the clip on my hand, but I'm positive, almost likely, he was saying that it was a good thing. It wasn't bad. It was appropriate. It was appropriate.
Well, just because the question y'all says, has Charlie Kirk displayed racism? If we're done with this, go to the next question. But if we're talking about other stuff, but the question is going to be confusing for the audience. So,
okay, then we can bring up. Yes,
I keep saying, is anybody willing to show a video to prove where he was racist?
Yes, there's a video. You can look at my computer. Yes, there's somebody can bring up a video where he's talking about how black women are not smart.
Yeah, but can you bring
it up?
That video you just showed, in a sense, right? The video you just showed. If you're not with it, I mean, if you're not against it, you damn near with it. If you're not speaking up, sometimes it's not what he said.
Hold on, Will. But like, according to your own words, you said damn near with it. So you're admitting that he's not with it.
No. I mean,
you said if you're not against it, then you're damn near, meaning not there, but near it, but not there. You're not it. You're not that thing. You're close to it, but you're not that thing. By your own words, you just proved your own point, technically.
Yeah, that's me just talking, rapping a little bit of, slang is like basically saying, yo,
Damn near is
yeah,
slang.
yeah, Texas, they be like, damn near. That's, I don't know, Beaumont. That's Beaumont shit, man. Damn near. But, oh, my bad. But what I'm saying is, if you're committed to a particular party that is okay with that type of lawlessness, and then you backdoor and you mention, the old America, the good America, you want to do things the American way. And if you're fine with that, storming the Capitol, basically kind of doing what you want to do, then that goes to show not only do you support a party that engages in that type of behavior, but you support America's favorite pastime by doing that. Like, that alone stands for the type of America you want to see going forward, and the type of America you've seen behind you in the past.
Well, sorry, real quick. But I just want to say, does anybody have a video they want to play that proves? I want the audience to see this. People talking about he plays racism, but nobody so far has said they'll put up. I heard the video we just played was a guy talking about a guy named Vance.
I'll put up a video. You want to go ahead and do that?
Just let Enos know what video you want to put up, or how we want to do it, and then let's break it down.
Enos, do you know how to share screens on here? I'll share my screen and you just pick it up. You know how to do that?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Do you want to play one?
Let's go ahead and share the screen right here.
Okay, hold
on. All right. Just tell me when you got it up.
No, play the clip that I got first. Go ahead and play that one and get Cavi right after that.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, the Malcolm joint.
What will it mean? Well, I'm not very excited at all over the Civil Rights Bill, primarily because it's a law, and the Supreme Court desegregation decision was also a law that was handed down by the highest court in the land 10 years ago, and they haven't been able to implement it even here in New York City or any other city in the North, much less try and implement it in the South. And if they can't implement this single law that was handed down by the highest court in the land, I'm very doubtful that they'll be able to enforce any of the laws that are now on the books in this recently passed civil rights legislation.
You don't think it's even a step then?
No, I don't think it's any step. The Constitution of the United States automatically is supposed to be sufficient to protect anybody who's born here who's a citizen. And if the Constitution includes all of those who are born here, I don't see why additional legislation is needed when it comes to the rights of the Negro. If the Polish people and the Hungarians and the Russians and others who come here as refugees don't need civil rights legislation in order to be recognized as citizens, why, it's a farce to make Negroes think that civil rights legislation is needed to get us recognition as citizens.
Well, what would you suggest be done then to let a Negro go wherever he wants to in the South and get all the other benefits that the bill provides him?
You can't do anything by legislation. It takes education. The white man in this country needs to be re-educated so that his behavior pattern toward non-whites will change, and the black man in this country also needs to be re-educated so our behavior pattern and attitude toward ourselves will change. And once a little educating is done on both sides, you'll probably find that that in itself will do more to bring about the spirit of brotherhood than all of the legislation that's designed to force the two together. You can't legislate brotherhood. That brotherhood comes about through understanding, and understanding is created through education.
Now, Malcolm, on one side you're talking about brotherhood and education, and on the other side you're talking about guerrilla movements in the South. Where do you stand?
Both of them are educational. We demand our right to have access to equality of opportunity to anything that this country stands for, as long as we're born here and come within the confines of the Constitution that governs this country. Now, in line with that, we feel that we have the right to defend ourselves whenever we take measures to participate as citizens, and unlawful elements like the Ku Klux Klan get in our way. We think the two positions are consistent. In fact, one complements the other.
If you had the opportunity, you would get rid of the Civil Rights Act?
No, I think you should have a one-page bill that says that racial discrimination based on race is illegal and will not be tolerated in the United States of America. Most black Americans don't support is men and female sports. Would you agree?
Hell no.
Yeah, I know. No, for sure, right? Believe it or not, the Civil Rights Act is now being used to keep men playing in women's sports. So so the Civil Rights Act was used to help Black America originally. Totally get that. But now the way it was written is that any claim of identification, so someone says, I'm a woman, therefore I can compete in your volleyball team, they come in with a civil rights claim. And so what we're saying is, no, it should be specified to racial, not gender, all that other stuff. And there were all these other provisions as well.
You would like
Malcolm, the civil.
All right, fellas, Victor, you want to go ahead? That was the Victor. Victor wanted to cup. Oh, that was Victor.
Yeah. Hey, look, man. We're an hour into this discussion, and I'm gonna say this: I need to cook. I don't need nobody interrupting me. I need y'all to be quiet. The only reason that we are in this discussion is because our entire culture is too sensitive. We don't like to hear what we show. And we wouldn't accept the same behavior from our own children if we had them, or whether or not we got them or not. I'm not saying that people should have better delivery of their opinions, but don't we all? This man was 31 years old, and he had his own individual experiences that shaped his opinion. Of course, he can't speak on every single thing to the depth and brevity that it goes with. Most of us can't even address people in our own families and tell them that they fucking up. You know what I'm saying? My bad on language, but I had to say it. The depth of this topic has been revealed by yet another major television media hogging incident where the white savior complex is always going to be part of this discussion as well. You know what I'm saying? The deeper it goes. But how would we feel if people used Nipsey Hussle as a talking point? I bring it up because we've had that discussion before. You know, there's some people that feel about Nipsey Hussle the same way they feel about Charlie Kirk. Some people that feel about Tupac. The comparisons is what I'm talking about. I don't want to get into, you know, like one was political and one wasn't or whatever. You know, we're just talking about the level of influence and the sensitivity around the topic. We have got to get out of our feelings if we want to move forward. The feelings only keep you in the past. And we have to be honest if we want a solution or do we want to just have something to talk about.
All right. So let's get Volk in it, because the original question, y'all was both on agreement as far as Charlie Kirk not displaying any racism. We played the videos Victor played a video to this topic. Anything you want to add, Volk, or a question you want to ask the panel before we move it around?
I guess I'll take a moment to say this point, especially since that video was played. Mine's going to be like 30 seconds or less to say this. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the claims people made about Charlie Kirk, things he said about the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King, a lot of those points, we say he's a racist for saying that. A lot of prominent Black activists and intellectuals have said the same thing about Martin Luther King, about the civil rights movement. My point is it doesn't make him right. It doesn't make him wrong. I'm just saying that doesn't automatically make you racist. That's why you see Malcolm X saying it. You've seen a Black producer right now did a whole documentary about Martin Luther King that came out recently. My point is just, and people have been saying this about these different movements and civil rights legislation for a long time within the Black intellectual community. So he's not racist for echoing the same things that they said.
All right, so I just want to get because Victor and Volk is on the same page. Before you Frank, just express your disagreement. I just want to hear the disagreements of what Vulcan just said. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say, the reason why he's a racist is because, even though you're saying all this stuff, Vulcan, Black people have been active in trying to fix these things. You gentlemen are acting as though Black people haven't been doing anything about their situation and condition. They've been doing stuff. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Frank, we just got to focus on the disagreement.
I just want to say, Frank, I do agree with you. So I have no contention. I have no contention with you, Frank. Whatever you're saying right now, I have no contention with you about that. I agree with you about that. Blacks have been doing things for a long time. Go ahead.
Right. I'm saying that we've been doing things. We have been working tirelessly to do stuff, and the black people that are making comments about what's going on were usually people that were in the active, were actually doing work. Meaning, like I said, black people speaking about black people and critiquing the movement makes sense because there are people that want to do good for black people.
That's
People
a logical
coming
fallacy,
outside
though. You can't pick and choose who gets to say what based off who's saying it. If somebody says 2 + 2 is 4, somebody critiques somebody.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. Let me finish the thought.
Frank, let him finish. Explain your point. The genetic fallacy.
It's gonna be short, real quick, Frank. I want you to finish what you're saying. I'm just saying that if you're implying in any kind of way that because blacks are doing the work, it's okay for them to critique, and Kirk's not allowed because he's not doing the work. I'm saying that's a fallacious way of reasoning. You don't have to do the work to critique. Critique is open to everybody, regardless of your race or the work you or are not doing, because blacks disqualify other blacks' work all the time. Dr. Umar disqualifies Tariq Nasheed. Dr. Tariq Nasheed disqualifies Boyce Watkins. We see it all the time. Go ahead, Frank.
Okay, what I'm saying is not what you're saying. I'm not saying people can't do anything. People can do whatever they want. I'm not saying people can't do. I'm saying that black people working and making criticism about the situation and the black experience is different than somebody not in the community making criticism. What I'm trying to say is that you have how easily if you're talking to, I'm not speaking about generally speaking, I'm generally speaking here as an example. If you have a child and you say, hey, to your own child, hey, you need to do this and do that, it's different than somebody coming in and telling you how you should raise your child.
Why is
for some people, for some people, for me, it's not a difference. For me, it's not. For you, it is.
Okay, let's say it like this.
Why is it not difference for you, Vo? Why is it not different?
I want to get into why, because I want Frank to be able to finish his point, but I don't want him. I want to address every point as he says it, because I want the audience to see both sides.
Let me go. Okay, yes. So let me say it like this. So you not to be a contrarian to everything. There are both sides to everything. There are two sides to everything. There's pretty much an opposite to everything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that to speak into this about what's going on, the critiques that Charlie Kirk made, and what we're saying about Charlie Kirk is that Charlie Kirk, not being from the community, comes in and makes statements that are not true, that are not true. That, and then we do it so with civil rights, because we just talked about civil rights. What I mean by that,
can you pull them up?
We already talked about it. I'll stick with what we just heard on the video.
Can we pull up a video of Charlie Kirk saying something that's not true? It should be he's
I'm about to go to it. I'm about to say it. We just pulled it up. We just watched the video. The video said Charlie Kirk said they're now using the civil rights to get transgender to they're supplementing that to be, let me say it, sorry, I'm thinking as I'm talking. What I'm saying is that Charlie Kirk is saying the reason why we should change the Civil Rights and don't have the Civil Rights Act is because they're using that for transgender. That is not correct. That is not true. There is no civil rights case, and the civil rights case is used because, like Malcolm X just said in a previous video, you can't legislate morality. So we know that you can't legislate morality, but you can send somebody to jail if they hit you in the head or hang you on a noose. So that's what the Civil Rights Act was for. Like Malcolm X said, the laws did not stop anyone from doing anything to us.
Real quickly,
right? And so the law needed to be continued.
Frank, sorry, Frank, can you hear me?
I muted. Go ahead. He can hear you.
Oh yeah, Frank.
Yes, it's only one.
Yeah, Frank. I think it's proven, and I think it's a quick Google search will show that the Civil Rights Bill has been used for transgender rights. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that that's technically
pull it up. Read that. Read it. If you said it, pull it up. Read it up. You just made that statement on the live, telling me what I was saying wrong.
Enos, you want me to read? Okay, yes, sir.
Yes, read it, please. Read it. Don't make claims that aren't true.
No. I'm with you 100%. I just want to make sure we do this the right way on the format. Enos, you want to pull it up on the screen? You want me to just read it? I try to do things in decency and in order.
I'll pull it up.
Okay, so he's pulling it up.
Just read it. Just read it, because I don't have it.
Okay. So I'm using Facebook's AI right here, and I typed in, has the Civil Rights Bill been used for trans rights? And this is what it says. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 has been interpreted to protect transgender individuals from discrimination. A key example is the Supreme Court case R.G. and G.R. Harris Funeral Homes, Inc. versus Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which determined that Title of the Civil Rights Act covers gender identity, including transgender status. This ruling has implications for employment, education, healthcare.
All right, Victor.
Okay. So what you just read. No, I'm about to address it. What I'm trying to say, and you understand what I'm saying clearly. What you just read is that they're using something that was for black people to help us. Somebody else has an issue and goes and use that issue to say that, hey, the Civil Rights Act that was supposed to protect black people that he used, that's applying to me. You track what I'm saying? That has been done by everyone. That's been done by women. That's been done by white people.
The judge did it, Frank. The issue is the judge did it.
It's not what the judge said. They just said that it's been interpreted, meaning that the judge meaning that the law did not change. Civil Rights Act is standalone, is not written for transgender people. People can go use the law and interpret the law and say, hey, this law that was written on this previous case is applicable to me. That's how all case law works. Does that make sense? That's how all case law works, meaning that you refer to something previous to go forward. And I hate when I get cute, guys.
Well, Frank,
that's what I'm trying to say. And I'm saying his point is wrong, meaning that that's what I'm trying to say. That what he's saying is that what he's saying is that the law itself is obsolete now. Okay, maybe because he's dead now, so he can't go back and refute this and clear this up. But way I'm interpreting what he's saying is that the law is obsolete, is no longer needed anymore. The Civil Rights Act is no longer needed anymore because transgender people are now using it to get their rights.
Okay, now can I say my interpretation? Can I give my interpretation real quick? And I'll try to be just as concise as you are. What I'm hearing is he wants to educate the public that civil rights legislation is now being used for transgender rights because most people aren't aware of that. That's what I took from what he was saying.
And what I'm saying, and you're correct, you're right. He's bringing it aware. But Franco's saying the fallacy is that everybody's been doing that's been done before. It's been done with everyone. You can go use that same Google AI search and say, how often has non-black people used the Civil Rights Act to benefit them or get them case law? And that'll be a myriad of comments of doing that because that's what they use, meaning that the same thing that Malcolm X said, the Constitution should be enough. The Constitution should be enough. But unfortunately, there are people in power and position that abuse that power and position, and so they need a recourse, and they use the law. And because the Civil Rights Act produced things like equal opportunity and other little subcultural things under there, that's how transgender and all those things fall under it. Because
I think we're all on the same page.
And also, transgender couldn't have been thought of at the time because there's no transgender when the.
You said, well, you think we're all on the same page?
Well, yeah. Well, so Frank, I just want to make sure Frank understands is that Frank, we're on the same page with the rest of what you're saying. We can move on with the conversation. I think the panel heard both sides, and I agree with a lot of what you said.
And I just want to put a chair on top. And I'm saying he's doing it intentionally because he's a racist.
Okay.
Well, hold on. Well, okay, yeah.
I got a video for you, fellas. If you guys want to go ahead and look at this,
all right.
If you see me sharing my screen here, it should be
come on,
with Charlie Kirk showing right here.
How long is this video?
It's not very long at all. Let's go ahead and rock with it.
Why would it say? Because if it's long, we can stop and start it.
Clear recipient.
So, okay, I need you not to interrupt because when I start a video, I need you not to interrupt.
Well, yeah, hold on real quick. Hold on.
You did it again, sir. Sir, do not interrupt. When I start a video, don't interrupt.
Hold on, sir. Hold on, sir. Well, like I did with Frank, I'm trying to establish a format. If it's going to be longer than 2 or 3 minutes, I'd rather start and stop it and have dialogue. If it's going to be less than 2 or 3 minutes, we'll let the whole thing play. I'm trying to make sure this is organized because we're just rapidly doing things without letting the audience know what's going on. Somebody's got to be intellectual about this.
Well, we're all intellectual about it, sir. So
not how we're conducting it as now.
Today as a clear.
All right, so everybody knows this. We'll stop and break. Everybody got some questions. We can do that.
And particularly in higher education, I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color, but I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
I hear because of action affirmative. She can't even say that. We know it's very obvious to us that you were not smart enough to be able to get in on your own. I couldn't make it on my own, so I needed to take opportunities from someone more deserving. You know, this is how arrogant Joy Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee are. They're so narcissistic, they think this is persuasive.
Yes, spoken like a man.
Okay, so I told you it was going to be a very definitely short video here. So when we're talking about professionalism, I definitely stick with that because you had already made that, Vulcan. You make that point that you wanted these clips to be pretty short. So when this man is talking about Sheila Jackson gets up on, she's on the Hill, and she's talking about her education and how she received her education. She says she's used affirmative action, or she got that chance to go to an Ivy League school in Harvard and Princeton to get her education. She said, I used that opportunity to get my education. However, I did not graduate that Ivy League school with affirmative action. I graduated that Ivy League school because I'm highly intelligent. He then puts in Ketanji Brown Jackson, Michelle Obama, and others, Joy Reid, who have all four have graduated from Ivy League schools, Harvard, Princeton. This dumbass son of a bitch never even graduated community college. I'm sorry. This dummy has not even graduated community college. Vulcan, where does he get the mitigated gall to say that these women are not qualified for their damn jobs, and he has not graduated community college? He had to drop out of community college. All four of the black women that he spoke of all graduated from prestigious Ivy League schools. Are we to suggest?
All right, Cabby, let's hold on. We want to get everybody around. So allow you ask the question. Y'all can get the back and forth. Allow Vulcan go ahead and respond to you. Let's get the dialogue going.
And I love the energy. I appreciate the energy there, Kavi. Thanks for that. I said I appreciate the energy. Love the energy. So the thing is, I want to say this point real quick. One, I want to make 2 points, maybe 3. First point, real short, concise. When you bring up the fact he didn't finish college or went to community college, that is irrelevant. Again, for the audience out there in the panel, that's called, I'm gonna give you the terminology, that's called the genetic fallacy. That's when you disqualify a person's perspective or belief based off the origin. Enos, can you put genetic fallacy on the screen, please?
Yes,
Number two. So again, you're engaging in fallacious reasoning. We have to be critical thinkers here. We can't just say and think what we want just because it feels good. That's a fallacious way of reasoning. Point number 2, he only addressed her getting into the college. He didn't address her graduating. You listen to his words, to what the video said. He's talking about the entrance into the college, not her graduating, not the degree. That's irrelevant to the point that he made. You are inserting your own assumption into his words. That's my point. I love the energy. Let's keep it going.
Hold on. And first, and let's share the. All right, Jeanette, for the audience, genetic fallacy, also known as fallacy of origins, fallacy of virtue, description basing the truth claim of an argument on the origin of its claims or premises. Logical form, the origin of the claim is presented. Therefore, the claim is true/false. Example 1, Lisa was brainwashed as a child into thinking that people are generally good. Therefore, people are not generally good. Explanation, the fact that Lisa may have been brainwashed as a child is irrelevant to the claim that people are generally good. For the audience, that's the genetic fallacy. You want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I'll add one thing. If we want to get more specific, the fallacy within the genetic fallacy, they call the credentials fallacy, is what he's guilty of doing right now. It's saying that he doesn't have the credentials to speak onto something. That is, again, a fallacious way of reasoning to people who understand logic and reasoning. I give the floor up.
All right, let's get Cabby to respond. Hold on, Franklin.
Okay, can we all agree with some type of logic that people who graduate from Ivy League colleges, Princeton and Harvard, are not dummies? Can we agree on that? I mean, because
where did Donald Trump graduate, and how many black people then called him dumb?
Where did he graduate?
Point proven.
And no, that's not the one. What did you just call that fallacy? What's that fallacy he just said? What's that fallacy thing he just said? Hey, brother, what's that fallacy he just said? That fallacy he just said? Because Trump himself has denied and blocked people to see his transcripts. And we know that Trump went back in the 50s and 60s where people could pay and he had people to do his cheating for him. That's been documented. That's why he won't show his grades.
Speculation, Your Honor.
No, he said that. That's
Okay,
like you have the AI. Continue to Google.
Dude.
It's continue to Google that.
Dude.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this.
One thing I've never called personally. I've never called Donald Trump an idiot, because to beat the Democrats twice, you have to be pretty smart to do that, because they are a well-educated group of people. So to beat them twice, and Vic would tell you that I've never called Donald Trump an idiot. So for you to say that, you would assume that I would be calling Donald Trump an idiot.
I wasn't talking about you. Just for the record, I wasn't talking about you. I wasn't talking about you. I'm just saying, like, I have family members and friends have called Donald Trump dumb and stupid and way worse than that. And he's an Ivy Leaguer. That's only to disprove your point, saying that how could you call somebody dumb being from the Ivy League? I don't hold it. I'm not giving you my opinion about these individuals.
The same reason he has 34 felony counts on his record right now, and he's
another relevant point. Another relevant point. Another relevant point to intelligence.
That's white privilege. That's white privilege.
White privilege is a different topic.
You got to address the point that Donald Trump went to Ivy League school. What do you think about that? His Vulcan using that point against yours is the same argument,
and that's what I'm saying. I've never personally ever said that Donald Trump is an idiot.
No, but I know you didn't say Donald Trump. Charlie Kirk saying that about a black woman. You said that was considered racist, but black people.
It's definitely.
But hold on, to make my finish my point. But black people been saying that about Donald Trump. You see how it's the same thing. The only difference is one person is white, one person is black.
That's the only point I'm making.
The difference in the context.
Hold on, let both of them. What your point you was making?
I don't mind giving up my floor for Frank. I don't mind giving up my floor for Frank.
All right, go ahead, Frank. Go ahead, because I want the audience to really know what your point is. Just in case.
All right. Well, two things. The first thing we were talking about Charlie Kirk. The reason why it's not appropriate for Charlie Kirk to make those claims, because he's implying and he's talking about contextually about their education and qualification as far as schooling. That's why it is applicable that you should have some type of foundation or some type of standard. And I understand that there is a different side to the thing. You can make a comment about this being smart. I'm not implying that somebody's smarter than other. What I'm trying to say is that if you don't, okay, let me say this. Let me give you let me say it like this. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. I'm in the Marine Corps, right? I was in the Marine Corps. Has anybody on this panel been in the Marine Corps? Was anybody in the Marine Corps?
I was in the military. I was in the Army.
Right. It was in the Army. So I know about the Army, and I could talk about the Army and make comments about the Army. True or not true, right? But I don't know what it's like to be in the Army. So therefore, all of my comments about the Army will be superficial, will not have any basis in context, because I wasn't in the Army. Somebody that's in the Army could speak about what it's like to be in the Army in a day-to-day experience.
Okay. So Franco is saying. I'm gonna say this point, Victor. He's saying for the audience, because he was in the Army, all of his statements, emphasizing all, will be considered.
I disagree with Frank.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if you weren't in the military, you don't have no space on that.
I disagree with Victor.
That's fine.
So let Victor go ahead and express yourself, Victor. Go ahead.
So here's the point. I understand what Frank is saying. This is a difference between empathy and sympathy, right? I've worked with Marine Corps guys, Navy guys, and Air Force guys, and as a soldier, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't never wore that uniform, so I don't know what they have to deal with on a 9-to-5 basis. But somebody that's a civilian can't tell me nothing about the military. Well, if they never served, they might have been around it, because they could have been a military brat. They might have known somebody that was in it, but that don't mean that they served. So I say all of that to say that's why I don't really care what people say if they don't have the experience. And that's a choice not to care, just like it's a choice to have an opinion.
All right, cool.
I think the issue is that we pay too much attention to people that don't have no type of connection to what we do and who we are. That's just it. That's the main issue. All
right, you got the floor, Vulcan. Express your disagreements.
So again, this is another classic case of the genetic fallacy. Now, obviously, somebody saying I'm not going to listen to somebody who doesn't have my experience, You can choose to listen to somebody or not listen to somebody, however you want to. But there are people who go and do journalism on the military that know more about the military than you do because you only know what you've experienced. He's interviewed 100 people in different parts of the world in different branches. He can speak on the military about things you have no concept of because you never experienced it.
Crazy talk.
Yeah, you've only experienced what you've experienced in the military. Did you experience being a general? Well, a journalist can go talk to a general on what it's like to be a general. You may never know.
Crazy talk.
Anecdotal fallacy. Whenever you say just because you experience it means it's true. Again, fallacious ways of reasoning. I want the audience to hear this. Just because people say things with a loud voice, just because they have experience with a certain thing, doesn't mean that they're exaggerated statements about can't nobody tell me nothing. That's hyperbolic language. That's exaggerated. You don't have to be in the military to say that this is what color their uniform is. This is where some of their bases are. That's stuff about the military that you don't have to be in the military to be able to tell. Now, how much can they know? There's some things that you only can know if you've experienced it. That's true. But somebody that's not in the military can do write an entire book on the military, interviewing people, looking at cop policies and stuff that folks in the military have never actually done. So they can know just as much in a different area than the person knows that was in it in a certain space. That's the truth. Go ahead.
All right, Victor, let's get Victor.
I just want to say something real quick. I just want to make sure because we're on this
program. If it's going to be real quick, you can say something.
I know it's going to be real quick because we're on this program and I was in the military. That is a fallacy. Don't go around telling you think you was in the military and you know what it's like and you wasn't in. That you're going to get yourself in a bad position.
Frank, what fallacy?
What's the name of the fallacy? What's the name of the fallacy?
It's a lie. You can't tell me. You can interview as many people
as you want. What's the name of the fallacy,
and that don't mean you know nothing about being in the Marine Corps. You
Frank, what's the name of the fallacy?
You got to put them boots on.
Frank,
what's the name of the fallacy?
Slow down, Frank. Answer.
What's the name of the fallacy?
You got to wear them boots. It's like saying I
wrote a story. Tell him put on the screen, Frank.
Frank, what's the
Frank? Tell him to put the fallacy on the screen.
I can write a book about pregnancy. Don't mean I can have a baby and know what it's like to have a baby. Y'all crazy.
100% agree, but that's not what I said. Now,
if you ain't marched Afghanistan, how you gonna talk about being in Afghanistan? You never been there. You can't write no book if you ain't pulling no trigger.
Journalists do it all the time. Journalists do it all the time.
That's not how it works.
Do that all the time.
Journalism.
And they get the experience from multiple journalists do it all the time. And they get the experience from multiple soldiers, not just the you. They go and get vantage points that you don't have access to.
Playing Call of Duty means you're a war fighter too. Then,
no.
Playing Call of Duty means you're a war fighter.
Stephen
Call of Duty has now qualified.
Stephen A. Smith knows some things about the NBA that Michael Jordan doesn't know. That's that's very true.
I think y'all both right,
Coach.
Frank,
y'all both right. Y'all both right, actually, man.
Hold on, Will. You gonna get a chance to speak.
Hold on. Will said we're both right. That proves my point because I'm not saying Frank is wrong that he doesn't know things that you can only know.
Frank.
No, what I'm saying is right here. Frank is right. There's things that Frank and Victor can only know that somebody on the outside can't know in the military. That's common sense. There's also things that people that are outside the military can know about the military because the military is an entire edifice, an entire system with codes and laws all around the world, and not everybody's privy to it, especially at a regular level. So what I'm saying is people that are civilians can know things that military can know. That's common sense. That's about anything, whether it's journalism in sports or journalism in the military. That's just common sense.
I got you, Victor. Hey, Frank, I know we having fun and everything, but remember what we said in the beginning, let the person get a chance to speak because you just learn a lot of things they can't get to his point. Now, if you have a coherent argument, I understand that, but
Enos, I feel like I didn't get enough time to explain my clip there about Charlie Kirk saying that black women who graduated from Ivy League schools weren't qualified or were stupid. So here's the thing. Here's the checkmate on you.
Hold on for a minute. I want you, because you did put that video. We did promise. Make sure that she's going to explain.
Yeah, I ain't get my talking points out. I ain't get all of them out. Yeah, I got some.
Hold tight. I got you. But I want Victor to respond to Vulcan as far as the genetic files because he made a.
Oh yeah, I want to hear that. Yeah.
He made a bold statement to say you can't talk about this if you're not in the military. Hey Frank, chill out with the smoking on screen.
Ice them.
So this is perfect for the whole thing, right? What Vulcan just did was gaslighting, so you don't even have to acknowledge it. So you just got to treat it just like white people. You know what I'm saying? If we don't have to pay him any attention, I don't have to honor anything that he said. He never put his hand up. He never served. He's never had an MOS. Nobody's ever said, hey, Vulcan, tell me about the military. So the people that are interested in the military are not going to talk to him. Now, if he cares more about a journalist's opinion, then that's who he needs to talk to. I don't care what those people think, because people are wrong every day from whatever perspective they want to be from. So
well, Vic, I get you don't care, but like I said, on this platform, we're gonna approach this intellectually.
Well, it is.
What I'm asking you, yeah, I'm saying I'm taking to another pivot right quick. Can you still man what Vulcan is saying? Do you agree with it as far as, or do you understand what he's saying as far as using the genetic fallacy as a logical fallacy? That's
I mean,
argument that you're using. That's what he's accusing you of.
Right. Well, I mean,
I know you don't care, but he's saying you're using a fallacious argument.
No, I mean, it's fallacious based on his experience.
You want to respond to that, Vulcan?
I didn't use my experience as any type of point. I gave the term. I said what it is. You asked him to straw man it, and we haven't done that yet.
I mean, I don't really have a rebuttal.
Sorry, still man. Sorry, I said it wrong. Still man.
Yeah, I mean, like, regardless of whatever man you want to use, I still don't have nothing to say to that. Because, like, what would be the? See, this is the thing. This is exactly what arguing about racism is, right?
Well, before, because I know people don't like the cutting off.
Look, I'm tying this back to the main topic. Let me say this.
No, it's not about the topic. The question it is the topic. I want you to still man what Vulcan is saying, so we can understand each other. So, do you understand? Can you tell me what he was saying, so the audience could know that what side we are?
Okay, I understood. I think the audience is smart enough to understand.
But can you articulate it?
Can I articulate it? Yeah, like, okay, most of us ain't never been professional athletes, right? But we talk about professional sports all the time.
So that's your attempt to still man. Okay. So that's a metaphor.
That's what he's saying, because he said journalists can write about the military without ever serving, and they got different placement and access. So I don't disagree with what he said about like Stephen A. Smith and stuff. But
so Vulcan, did he still man you? Did he still man you properly?
I think that was a decent job. Obviously, he did a very simple version of it. It didn't get into me talking about, because again, I'm addressing because he uses a lot of absolute language when he speaks, and I get we're on live and we're on YouTube and we got to get views and stuff like that. But when you say somebody that's wasn't in the military can't tell me anything about the military, we all know common sense that's false. And I just don't want the audience to be deceived by that kind of language. Now, if he means
just use all inclusive language. The most of the people that's watching that have never served, they got a different level of access to an opinion about the uniform.
I agree with you.
So you can't tell them what all of those people are saying. I'm saying that the only position that I can speak from, and that most other military service members will agree on, that your perspective on the military is going to be limited. My perspective on other people's opinions is their business. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Personally, I don't really invest in other people's opinions about something I actually do.
All right.
Why would I listen to somebody ride? Like, I ride motorcycles. How many of y'all ride motorcycles?
This is called anecdotal fallacy for the audience.
Yeah, I'm giving a micro.
Why explain that then, Vulcan?
So anecdotal fallacy is whenever you say, this is what I experienced, this is what I went through, so this is what it is. Just because you don't let people that are from a different place or didn't have your experience speak to you about it, that's irrelevant to the broader society. That's your preference. Like, I might like chocolate ice cream. He likes strawberry ice cream. That's irrelevant to everybody else. Victor's point is right. People who are not in the military do speak from a limited standpoint. But people who are in the military speak from a limited vantage point too. Everybody, unless you're God, speaks from a limited vantage point. And I yield the floor.
I was using, when I brought up the motorcycle thing, I was using a very, very micro example. Okay. If somebody tells me what they think about people that ride motorcycles, that's cool. That's fine. But it's up to me to decide if it's worth having a discussion with them. So that's why I say I don't let, as that pertains to anything, I don't care about racism. You know what I'm saying? If it's not impacting me every day, just like they don't care about black people's opinions or whatever race outside of them. You know what I mean? We have a choice to make to choose what we're going to get sensitive about. I'm not about to go up and down, you know what I'm saying, to all of the YouTube comments and everything to try to make Vulcan's point valid to him, you know what I'm saying, or the people that share his experience. Because if none of y'all join the military, what would be the point of me telling y'all my story?
Well, let me say this, because again, and I think is this is and Frank, you're next on this one right here. It's a fundamental difference in community. I just want to make sure I clear this up. I to me, words are important. We should say what we mean. We should mean what we say. So when Victor uses words loosely, like what's valid to them, valid to them is not a real thing. Valid means grounded in reason and logic. It's irrespective of the people that it's being applied to, technically speaking. I get that. I know what Victor means, and I agree with Victor's saying, but he uses words very loosely. So he'll use valid in a way that's not what valid means. But we all know what he means because most people speak very loosely. I want the audience to know that's not what valid means. Valid means grounded in reason and logic. So it doesn't matter whether somebody else agrees with it or not. If it's valid, doesn't mean true. It just means that the conclusion follows logically from the premises. Technically, that's what that means.
All right, Cavi, you're gonna get to. We just try to get some closure in this conversation. We're gonna get to you, Cavi. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, real quick, I just want to say when Vulcan brought up, you can't be able to say it perfectly unless you're God. That's a false dichotomy.
No, I didn't say able to say it perfectly. That's not what I said.
Well, you said that only God could be able to.
I'll say it in 5 seconds.
I'll move past.
Hold on, I'll say it in 5 seconds. I'll say it in 5 seconds. I can say it in 5 seconds.
Go ahead, say it in 5 seconds. Come on, go ahead.
Frank, I just want to clear it up because it's a point that you were making in 5 seconds. I said that everybody's vantage point is limited except for God's. Go ahead.
And that's good for the audience, Frank. Keep in mind, so the audience can hear.
I know. I'm trying to go. Y'all messing me up. That's what I said. All I'm saying. What he said was
sorry, sir.
What he just said, I was saying false dichotomy. That's all I said. All right, moving on to what I was saying. I lost my thing again. Jeez. Okay. Ah, shoot. I lost what I was trying to say.
All right. So this. You want to come back to?
Okay. I got it now. Okay. What I was saying, I don't know if I understood Vulcan, but I'll say both things to be done. I think what I'm hearing Vulcan say is that anybody can speak about the military because they can read and see stuff. They can speak about it. I think that's fine. What I'm saying is that people can't speak about our experience or what's going on or what we do on a day-to-day, how our life and how it affects us, because that would be impossible. Because it's like, if you do think you can, I believe that you devalue us, because some of us have PTSD. Suicide is very prevalent in veterans. And so we have buddies that we feel every day that we know, and I'm pretty sure brother on the screen knows about people having all these issues. That's something that we can know and feel because that flows through us because of our shared experience. And as you had that shared experience, you're not going to feel that people are posting every day on our Facebooks about somebody dying. Somebody that wasn't in the military, that didn't serve, they're not going to be feeling through that thing because they're going to know what that's like, especially when you get to these experiences of being in combat, where we, in our lifetime, almost 20 years of war, 13 years of my time was at war, 13 years of my service and retirement, 13 years was at war. There's no way that a person on the outside, if they do think that almost feels like they're devaluing us because we had to go and be in the sun in 110-degree weather, see brothers being shot, like same thing happened to Charlie Kirk on a daily basis.
I think we got as far as your experience of people devalue the contributions you did in the military. Go ahead, Vulcan.
So I'm gonna do this in a minute or less because I want Kobe to speak. I want everybody else to speak. I want to say this real quick. Frank and Victor are right. There are some aspects of certain things in life with the military, be it anything, that if you didn't experience, you can't speak on that. That would be called an argument from ignorance. But in the vastness of knowledge about a certain topic, be it the military or sports or how to build a laptop, people can have access to knowledge without actually experiencing it in the big umbrella of knowledge of a certain topic. They may not have the same knowledge as Frank or Victor or Will in a certain area, but they can't have knowledge of that topic. So to say they can't speak on this because they never went through this is a fallacy. Now, if they say they can't speak on living it, if they say they can't speak on living it because they didn't live it, that part is true. And I think that's what the heart of what they're saying is. But the looseness of the words makes it fallacious.
Yeah, it's a different vantage point.
Frank, I want to get to this.
I just want to make sure we understand for the listeners out there what Frank is saying, that I'm saying there's tiers to this, meaning that it's not the same, meaning that like how we use Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James, when they talk about basketball, Stephen A. Smith can give his insight, but LeBron James can give more insight. I mean, there's a subject matter expert in everything. Meaning that going back to
Depends on the topic.
I'm saying that because he didn't go to school, he
It
can't
depends
really
on the
talk about
topic.
how education is for an Ivy League school if you never attended, doesn't even know what it looks like to get a diploma and go through those 4 years. He's limited on his experience to talk about it versus being able to make
we got your friend as far as the experience. You did a good example with Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James. Go ahead, Vulcan, and then we're gonna get Calvin. Go ahead if you want to respond to Frank.
Okay, so my last thing, again, I've already said it no more time. I agree with Victor and Frank about the topic. There's certain things that if you're not in it, you can't experience. That doesn't negate the vastness of information available to them. That doesn't have to do with being in it. There's stuff that Stephen A. knows about the NBA that LeBron James doesn't know, because you have certain access as a journalist. You ask certain questions as a trained journalist.
Gossip doesn't count. We're talking about what happens between the line.
He's 100% right. Frank's right. Gossip doesn't count. He's right about that. But again, and I want to make this point before we go into the next thing right here. Everybody, I don't know if you want to put it on the screen, knows what a steel manning is. One thing that's evident about Frank is that he can't still man what I'm saying. He's already misquoted me 2 or 3 times. How can he be in the conversation intellectually if he can't even properly say what I'm saying? That's step one in have an intellectual discourse. So I want to put still man on the and I'll yield the floor.
Yeah. Let me pull this up for y'all.
Oh yeah, real quick, man. What y'all saying apply to me like this. I remember back in the day, the brother named Sam, I think it was Sam Smith, a writer up in Chicago, wrote the book, The Jordan Rules. Y'all remember that? It was kind of like the last dance of Jordan, how we got the DVD stream now, but it was a book. Came out back in like 90, 80, 91, 92, 93, one of them years when Jordan won that first title. But it went through like some of the locker room things, the confidential sources, how Mike was talking to Cartwright. How Cartwright told him, yo, nigga, if you ever play with me again like this, I'll beat you up. Like, he stepped to Mike. That's stuff that type of knowledge that, Mike probably not going to put out there because he didn't maybe know Cartwright felt that way. Or, certain things with Horace Grant, Scottie Pippen, that the journalist and the writer.
Terrell Owens, Will, how much did Terrell Owens not know that the people revealed, Skip Bayless revealed through talking to people in interviews about it when he was researching the topic?
Right. So it's a knowledge. It just might be, different than what the perspective you might even get from the player. Now, the aches and pains that they go through and icing their knees, the journalist ain't gonna feel all that flying city to city, staying up late, drinking. He don't know that, but he can write about that because of what he's been told. But to say that's his experience of doing it, nah. I mean, it's just like the coach. Coach know everything damn near going on in your life, but his perspective of being in the finals, coaching it, is a little different from the player. But he can kind of speak to that, but it's different. So, man, y'all both right.
Good point. Well, word of the day, still, man. This is for the audience. We do this. This is the rules of engagement. This is how you operate in intellectual virtues. You do this to stop the chaos and actually, like I said in the beginning, hear the person point, state the person point, and make sure that y'all on the common ground so y'all can build and get closer to the truth. That is what we are dedicated on doing on the show. So still, man, the best representation of your opponent's argument created in order to show you understand the opposing argument well, building the best form of the other side argument, and then engaging with it. The stronger version of the argument that one is about to critically analyze, represent an argument as strongly as possible, a person engaged in still making business. So that's what we're doing. So when people have opposing sides to people on the panel, it's appropriate to state what the person's saying so you understand and y'all can actually hit the moving target. If y'all don't do that, it's just all over the place. And that's not how intellectuals dialogue on a higher level. All right. So let's get to what Kabi, you want to bring up what you were saying, and then I get to the next question.
Yeah, so I got to kind of remind the audience of what they saw in that clip about 30 minutes ago. So Vulcan, you did not follow the rules of engagement when it comes to argument or debating, because what I proved to you with that clip right there is you had Shalia Jackson actually say that yes, though affirmative action might have gotten me into this Ivy League school, I did not use affirmative action to graduate from that school, saying that I possessed the intelligence to actually graduate from that school. Not just that, but also climbing in politics the way that she did. She did not climb the ladder in politics the way that she did by affirmative action or DEI. She climbed the ladder of politics because she used her intelligence in her performance, which is called merit-based. That is exactly what Charlie Kirk wanted. Her, Michelle Obama, Joy Reid, all these individuals are exactly what Charlie Kirk wanted. These women are women who displayed their intelligence by graduating from Ivy League schools. Now, we don't have to go to the importance of what an Ivy League school is. If you guys think that a bunch of cookie cutters come from Ivy League schools, fine. That's fine. Just want to let you know that 90% of your government has graduated from Ivy League schools. But anyway, those talking points right there, and these women proven that they are not DEI hires because of, like I said, they proved through performance. That's exactly how they got there. You don't just have a person at a higher level that just says, "Oh well, Joey Reid's black. Let me go ahead and grab her." Well, how many other black hosts are off of CNN or hired on CNN? Did they get the job the same way? No, you don't get that. You get that by your performance, what you can do, your efficiency. That's how you do that. They were exactly what Charlie Kirk wanted. Now, your rebuttal was, well, where did Donald Trump go to school? I didn't know. To be honest with you, I didn't know. I know where Barack went, but I didn't know where Donald Trump went. Okay, Ivy League school. So here's the thing: has anybody ever questioned Donald Trump's intelligence? Because See, Enos, you're not being fair here because you never disrupted Vulcan when he was talking.
Man.
You
gotta let me talk.
What do you want him to respond to?
Okay, well, I'm going to let him respond after I wrap this up right here. So his response was, well, where did Donald Trump graduate from? I didn't know. Okay, so looked it up, sees Ivy League school. Gotcha. Now, has everyone ever questioned Donald Trump's intelligence because of his race? Checkmate. Nobody has ever questioned Donald Trump's intelligence because of his race. Charlie Kirk, through that video, questioned those women's intelligence because of their race. You would have never made it in here without your race, is what he insinuated. But the thing is, it's like this. There's a lot of people that went to Princeton and Harvard that would have never gotten there without legacy. Without legacy.
We got to get him.
Hold on, we got your point. Do you have a new point to bring up? Because you have a point that you haven't already said that you want to say still?
Yes.
That ain't right.
I do have a point.
I can still man you if you
what I'm saying. You're not going to still man me. You're not going to still man me because here's the thing. There are plenty of people who have gotten into prestigious Ivy League schools because of legacy. Legacy.
I agree with all that.
Not because of merit based. But Charlie Kirk's whole argument is because everything has to be merit based, and that's not the case. It's never been like that, Vulcan. It's never been like that. These four intelligent black.
Okay. Look, he made his point. Look, this for the panel. Let's just slow it down. Listen. This is a dialogue.
This is not. Yeah, hold on. Let me say this real quick. Let me say this. Look, this is not just all of us say our points and sell off in the sunset. We need to be able to rebut and cross-examine each other. That's why I keep saying I yield the floor. I yield the floor. After I've made my point, maybe give an example. Hopefully not two. I yield the floor because I want to interact with y'all. I want actually the audience to be enriched by a conversation that continues and builds to something. And I yield the floor.
I've already yielded the floor, brother. What I'm saying is just prove to me how that statement that he made was not racist.
I think you're straw man. I think all you did was show that you're not able to follow what Kirk is saying in the video.
You're not answering what I'm saying. Tell me what Kirk was saying in the video, Vulcan.
Yes, sir. I said it earlier, but what Kirk said was she got in through affirmative action. He didn't address how she got out. He didn't address any of that part. That's you straw manning him. That's you taking his words out of context. He never addressed that part. He only addressed her getting in. Am I right or am I wrong about that?
Is he right?
You're wrong about that.
Let's play the
You're
video again.
definitely wrong
Let's
about
play the
that.
video again. Let's play the video again. We got to settle this because there's too much misinformation going out there. We're not really watching videos clearly. We'll play this video again.
There you go.
Hold on.
And a woman of color. But I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
I hear because of action affirmative. She can't even say that. We know. It's very obvious to us that you were not smart enough to be able to get in on your own.
Enough said.
Pause it.
Enough said.
Pause
it.
He said you weren't smart enough to get in on your own. He never mentioned getting out. He never mentioned. Hold on, the audience to hear this. I just proved he was wrong about the video. He said he mentioned her getting out. I said he only mentioned her getting in, and I yield the floor.
You yield the floor to nothing, sir, because he just said
Oh no, I'm yielding the floor to y'all.
You were not smart enough to get in.
Right.
Hold on, real quick. Just so everybody, hold on real quick. You understand what I'm saying? Yield the floor. That's not a diss to anybody. I'm just saying I'm giving the floor back to y'all. That's all I'm saying.
But I think what my man's saying is,
I understand that.
Like the fact you questioning her intelligence about being smart enough to get in or out as a black woman, while also, like you said, never bringing up the whole nepotism and generational wealth that was stolen, not even really mentioning why affirmative action had to even be created in the first place, then wanting to get rid of it, knowing that it's still people that that can benefit of that color. I mean, it's a couple of things kind of that tie in.
Well, let me address what you just said real quick.
Okay.
I agree that he didn't bring that part up. I disagree that he needed to or he had to.
You leave a lot out.
Just like all of us when we're talking, we can't say every point. Obviously, Kobe had a lot more he could have said, and Victor, we all know Victor.
Let's make an excuse.
It is an excuse. It is an excuse. For the audience out, excuse means to excuse behavior for a legitimate reason. What I'm saying is this.
Most of us know what excuse means.
Most, but not all. I care about the little people. Maybe not like you. But my point is saying this.
Little people. Wow, bro.
Yeah, you said because most it's okay. I said I want everybody to understand, not just most. So I'm taking a humanitarian effort that you're not doing. My point is saying this right here is that obviously Victor can say a lot more than he has. So somebody goes, well, Victor didn't bring up this, Victor didn't bring up that. That would be unfair. Victor would bring that up if he had more time or you asked him a question about it. Kirk was making a point. He nailed the point he was trying to make. I haven't given my opinion about whether he's right or he's wrong about it, y'all. I'm just telling you, he only mentioned the entrance part. Now, another point about it, intellectually speaking, if you got into affirmative action, what that means is that your SAT scores and GPA in and of itself was not competitive enough to get into the Ivy League on its own. That's the point he's making. That doesn't make her dumb. I'm not saying I agree with what he's saying about her being dumb and that kind of stuff like that. But anybody who's been in position where you have to hire people and stuff, and you could get sued if you're making judgments based off things.
Where are his numbers? Where was the GPA for him to prove his talking point, Vulcan?
No, I'll address that. I'll address that.
So he's talking out of his ass, sir.
All right, so let Vulcan.
I love that point. No, I love that point, and that's what I'm saying. And I want to keep it short too, so you can respond back to it, Kobe.
I'm icing your ass right now, sir.
I love it.
This is called getting crushed.
My guy.
Right now.
I appreciate it. If I get crushed into a better man, I'll take it. So the thing is like this. What I'm saying is right here is that what that's saying is that you have to have a certain criteria to get in, and you're competing against other people. If you get a leg up for any kind of reason, that's what he's calling into question. That's a political point. It's not a point that has to be taken racially. You're making an assumption, an argument from ignorance that he doesn't know her GPA. We don't know that. He doesn't have to say it when he's talking. When I can disagree with somebody without proving why I disagree. If you asked me to prove it, somebody would have asked him to prove it and he couldn't do it, then you'd have a point. But you're making an argument from ignorance, assuming he doesn't know something that you don't know whether he knows or not. And I don't know if he knows or not either. But you're the one making the truth claim, not me. That's an argument from ignorance. You're wrong.
I mean, I think he's smart enough to know that black people were still left out, regardless of higher scores, better credit, more credentials, things like that. Coming, it's like to make that statement, knowing that her scores could either be higher or lower. That's the thing. He plays a lot of things in one way and leaves certain things out there that's so irresponsible, and I feel he knows better, that it seems malicious to me. That right there, when let's break it down, the whole Reconstruction, the FDR thing, the start of redlining. We were declined for everything, regardless.
I agree, Will.
And I know Charlie Kirk knows this. So in that video, I didn't say bring up a video or nothing yet, and I just kind of started really seeing a lot of his clips go viral. Hold on, check it out. I've been seeing a lot of his clips go viral, this weekend up till now. If you want to bring them up, you can, but it's two things he kind of said, and we touched on it last time I spoke to y'all fellas on the show. I seen about 2-3 different debates, maybe more, where Charlie Kirk spoke about. He likes to talk about the absence of fathers in the home.
Real quickly, Will, do you want to pull it up or not? So if you want to, Will, do you want to pull him up? I'm not interrupting you to talk. Do you want to pull it up or not? Because he needs to get the video ready so you can go in and show us what you're talking about, if you can prove it.
Yeah, should I pull up? Unless Zeno's want to find. All you got to do is look up Charlie Kirk Black Fathers. He talks about it all the time.
Okay. So we'll do this, and you're going to prove this with this video, right?
I think so. I mean, I think it all ties in just with the video we just saw. When you question intelligence, you said, and one more that he said, I heard him say 3 or 4 times. He said, what can I as a white man do that you as a black man can't do in America? Or what's the difference? What can I do that you can't do?
Okay, we'll pull that video up because I know that one very well, and I would love to debate that.
Okay.
We don't have to play the whole thing. Just play it until we get to the point. He needs to state, just for the audience to understand how intellectual discourse works. Well, how it works is this. Will would say, I want you to play this video, and then this video, when we play this video, I will prove this about Kirk, Charlie Kirk. And then we play the video, and we'll see if he substantiates his claim. That's how it goes. Test the falsifiability for the audience out there. Test the falsifiability. There's no audio.
Yes, sir.
There's no audio.
Does not graduate high school and join. 75% of black youth are raised without a father in the home. Is that a concern for you?
Of course, it's a concern because I think that they're.
Let's pause it. Let's pause it. I was going to ask the audience: does anybody disagree with what he just said there?
Yeah, them stats is wrong.
Okay, like, what percentage would you say? What percentage would you say? He said 75. What's your number?
Is not what I say. It's what some of these others thought it was the
argument from ignorance, y'all.
No. It's the CD. What was it? The CDC report. It was on the Wall Street Journal. It was in all these.
That's about fathers' involvement. That's about fathers' involvement, not fathers being in the home. The CDC study you're talking about.
So what are we saying? Like where are they involved at? At the park? At Walmart? Like what?
Ask any man on child support.
Huh?
I said, ask any man on child support.
No, I'm just saying if he's involved, but he's not in the home. Like, I know dudes that live and marry with their wife. They work like 18 hours a day. What, they never in the home? They're his single mom now because he work all the time.
All right, so what Charlie was referring to is he's referring to unwed mothers. So it is 73% of unwed mothers. That is correct. But when we do look at the statistics, because me and Vic was talking about this the other day, when we looked at the statistics of living arrangements of children by race and ethnicity, it's only 49.7%. So it's half is what it is. So it's nearly half. So it's nowhere near 73%. He's talking about 73% is unwed mothers is what he's talking about.
And stuff like that,
it's shit like that. You know, that he does, that he does not do his research. I'm sorry, that he doesn't do his research and his due diligence, and he looks like a damn idiot.
So yeah, he does. He does have a funny look to me as well.
Will.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
I just want to say before I say anything, Victor, you had anything you want to add?
No, I was gonna say what he was talking about was the unwed mother population, which is, closer to 75%, 73%, and they reproduce with 15% of men. And that's a 5-to-1 ratio. So the issue is still an issue,
Can you
But he
tie that back
said
into
the
the Charlie Kirk?
biggest
Victor, can
issue.
you
He
tie that
said
back
that
into the
biggest.
video?
Will.
Oh my
No, I was
bad.
asking. Sorry about that. Well, I just wanted Victor. Can you tie that back into the video? You got a great point, but like as far as the video and Will's point,
I mean, I started the video saying I don't think Charlie Kirk was racist. You know what I'm saying? I think he was just speaking, you know, like from data, from his understanding. I don't expect other people to empathize with people that they don't look like. They don't have no vested interest in us. So why even give them authority and responsibility that we don't expect from them?
All right.
aka tribalism. But I want to say, like, so for Kobe and Will, like you just heard Victor say, and I definitely agree with what Victor is saying. There's alternative explanations for what you're seeing from here. You're choosing the racial one, right? Why not? Why can't it be as Victor is saying? There could be other reasons, because the stuff that Kirk's echoing is stuff that other people have echoed that are black. Why is it when he does it, it's racist, but when a black person, intellectual blacks, Michael Eric Dyson, Dr. Boyce Watkins, I can keep on naming people, black intellectuals who talked about these things, when they say what Kirk's saying, it's intellectualism and they care about the community. What Kirk said is racism. I really want to know why he can't do it what other people can do.
When we're making a movement on social media, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Instagram, whether it be Twitter, or whether it be YouTube, when you're making a movement, especially like a podcast or anything like that, what you have to do is you have to create an audience. And the way that you create that audience is you have to create this certain narrative. You got to keep repeating it. Hitler said it best, just if you want somebody to believe something, say it, keep believing it, and eventually it will be believed. So if I keep on making these talking points, and I keep on making these talking points, eventually you're going to believe it. No matter if the talking points have been proven wrong or not, you're going to believe it because I'm saying it. It's the number one rule of propaganda.
You got to answer the question. You got to answer the question. Why when Farrakhan and
I was explaining that, brother.
Okay, what is it? Why can't they do it and Charlie can? They say the same thing. Why?
Oh yeah. Are you asking why it's okay for black people to do it? Are we talking about Farrakhan? Are we talking about?
I'm saying when black. Hold on, I got this. When black intellectuals say this, they say the same thing. Why is it racism when Charlie said? Just answer that for the audience, please.
Why is it racism when Charlie says it?
He's saying the same thing when black intellectuals say it. The same thing.
He's not saying the same thing that black intellectuals said. I just showed you where his statistics are off and his percentages are off. So he's not saying what black,
But again,
y'all got to stop interrupting people, man, and let them finish their thoughts, because that just drags it out longer. It takes longer to get to the point when y'all interrupt.
He's not answering the question.
He's not answering the question, Victor. We're not getting anywhere. We can let him talk, but we're not going to get anywhere.
I'm kind of not understanding the question. Ask that question one more
time. Thank you. There we go. We need this dialogue. Okay, who want me to do it, or so we want to ask the question?
No, Vulcan, you go ahead and do it.
So what I'm saying is, what you just said was this. You said, because he asked you the question, when black intellectuals say what Kirk says, they're not called racist, but he is. Your point in response to that was he's not saying what black intellectuals say. He misquoted the data. But those two different topics. Him being accurate is one topic. That's what you're focusing on.
Okay.
And I love the fact you're doing that. Whether he's saying what other black intellectuals are saying is a different topic. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We're not asking the question that you're answering. We're asking you a different question that you haven't answered yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Victor, that's why I interrupt, Victor, for those reasons right there.
Okay, so the way that I would say, the way that I would break that down, right, is the same reason that who was the gentleman that said who called the Connecticut or the Yukon girls nappy headed hoes? Who was that? John Imus.
Rutgers girl, John Imus.
So same reason why John Imus can't say nappy headed hoes about the Yukon girls, but I could. I could definitely get away with it.
Yeah, what's the reason?
And the reason is because I'm black. I can speak on
genetic fallacy again.
I can say that because
genetic fallacy again.
And that is real. That's just a real thing, Vulcan. There's certain things that I can't say at work about a white man that another white man can say to a white man. I can't call a white man
I get your point.
a certain thing.
I want to address your point. I get your point now. I want the audience to hear this.
Are we living in utopia? Are we living in reality?
I love that point, and I think that's something that Victor echoes quite eloquently as well. But I want to say this right here. Society doesn't run off of what's the most fair and reasonable. Thus, our conversation today. Society can be very unfair and unbalanced. That doesn't mean our thinking has to be that way. So I can intellectually recognize when somebody's doing something or not doing something. Now, I live in an unfair world. I may have to do certain things to exist in this unfair world, but my mind can still know what's right and what's wrong and what's fair and what's not, what's intellectual and what's foolish. That's the only point that I'm making in this situation. What do you have to say about that?
I have nothing to say about that, Vulcan. I mean, honestly, I just
All right. So you
my
got
argument.
Let's move it on.
Go
Let's move
ahead
it
and
on.
rock with it, man.
Moving on to Will. Will's muted. All right, go ahead, Victor. You got anything to say what Vulcan just said?
I think my point is that I just choose not to connect with people that I don't respect. I treat people based on their behavior. Ultimately, you know, Cavity's point about narratives always exists. Everything's a narrative. Everything is information, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent, starts with the narrative, and it requires due diligence to, you know, figure out what the source of the comment is. And in this world of clips, man, you can really form the skewed opinion about any single thing. Now, I believe it takes a lot of emotional discipline to form a healthy opinion about something, or be able to say, I don't have enough information to have an opinion on that. And truthfully, at some point, I opt not to care about people that don't care about me. And I believe respect is the bottom floor, and you have to do something to remove the respect. I think that the man was 31 years old and he didn't get a chance to redeem himself either. You know, I think we put too much expectations on a lot of things, because most of us was probably screwed up in our 30s too. You know what I'm saying? We was running off of what we thought life was going to be, but when we was 18 to 20 some years old, and like I'm 46 and I had a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, wrong. I think that we need the same kind of grace, because the truth is, everybody always talk about wanting to come together, but they can't even put their families together. The men that live in this zip code got beef with men that live in this zip code. The women in their own family got beef with each other. So I don't think that it's fair that we get to dump on one individual about one thing. This man wasn't no elected official. Yeah, I get he had influence, but the thing is that we lived the lives that perpetuated the madness that the children he influenced was already influenced by. So he woke them up, and what y'all seeing right now, and what y'all gonna see the next 20 to 30 years, is the party of Charlie. And I'm saying that now.
Yeah, you're gonna see that. You're gonna see it.
So let's definitely cover that. Well, go ahead. Well, let's give a real concise answer to close the statements before we get to the next question. Make it concise, please.
What does concise mean? How much time?
5 seconds. No, I'm just like
a minute, but what's a minute or less?
Yeah, a minute or less. Will.
All right.
Man, he's still muted, man. Will, you muted. All right, so I can't even get to him to unmute him. Oh, here we go. Well.
Oh shit, we double muted. Oh yeah, no, I was just saying what he was saying about, like, you know, Michael Eric Dyson and other guys and what they saying, if that really has any weight to Charlie Kirk, or to me, not necessarily, man. The same way that whatever Steven from Django said didn't have no weight on whether or not DiCaprio was a racist or not. Like, his own man. You gonna have some of us who gonna echo those sentiments because it's safe, man. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not really sure if a lot of people out here is standing on what they really standing on because of their own conviction, or it's because it's safe, or are they just misinformed? So I try to put that into it when I'm thinking about it. And when it comes to Kirk and what he was saying, what he failed to say as well, the positions he took, some of the organizations he down with, it's a lot of boxes that's checked. You know what I mean? And you know, if you're not part of the solution, man, you wind up being part of the problem. And with the influence, the power, and this being basically your livelihood, I would think, you know, you would know a lot more about the situation and be a lot more, I don't know, man, just well read. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm not saying he deserved to die, but the ideologies of some things he stood behind without being so staunch to speak out to the victims and be so quick to cut off, some of those.
We said a few
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah. My bad,
All right,
man.
What we're going to do here, I'm going to pull up another fallacy. Like I said, this is a critical thinking show. So if you hear us use these terms like genetic fallacy, the next term we're going to go to is called the special pleading fallacy. I want Vulcan to go ahead and share your thoughts on this. All right, so special pleading, the description, applying standards and principles and / or use to other people or circumstances while making oneself or certain circumstances exempt from the same critical criteria without providing adequate justification. Special pleading is often a result of strong emotional beliefs that interfere with reasoning.
I feel like you just basically quoted Victor right there. That's basically what I thought what Victor had been saying for a while.
Yeah.
Our emotions are getting the best of us in a lot of ways. So in my closing statement on this topic, before I get to the other two gentlemen, is just, I share a lot of the same feelings and sentiments that Covey and Will does, and also Victor and Frank, but that's why and the world isn't perfect, and I'm not perfect, and I have judgments that are off. I have emotions that make me more biased, confirmation bias, reference group bias. The Bible would say, Matthew 7, I have a log of my eye and I can't see my brother clearly, right? So all that stuff's happened. That's why I rely on multitude of counsel and peer review, and I rely on test of falsifiability and stuff like that to help y'all. And y'all gentlemen, like you said, you crush me in the debate. That helps me to be stronger next time I debate somebody. So my point is saying this: it's special pleading when you say that we can do this because of who we are, but they can't do it, and you have no other reason other than just your race. That's a special pleading. It's a fallacious way of thinking, and that's part of the problem with this conversation we've been having, is that we're not thinking about this in logically consistent terms because we're not taught this stuff in school, and that's what I have to say about that.
Okay, can I go in on this one right here? Because I like that you guys brought this up right here. So special pleading, I'm going to read this again. Applying standards, principles, and or rules to other people or circumstances while making oneself for certain circumstances exempt from the same criteria. This is exactly what Charlie Kirk is. This is exactly what it is, because he's applying standards, principles, and or rules to a different race than he is, which is black people. And he never critiques his own race with that same aggression. He never did that. I need you guys to see that. He never critiqued his own race with the same emotion and the same aggression as black people. That is my point in saying that.
Most of his debates is against white people. He's critiquing.
What debates are you referring to? I seen him do a whole lot about black people and LGBTQIA.
Well, hold on, it's Victor's turn. We still got to get through it. I mean, I would love that conversation, but I don't want Victor to have to wait too long to say his points on it as well.
I'll say this: he did speak out against white people. He called them liberals.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Did he speak out against straight white Republicans? That's what I'm saying.
He called out liberals. Never. White people.
Never.
I mean.
Well, you moved the goalposts. Kavi, he did speak out. We just proved it right there.
Okay, liberals. Okay. He spoke out against liberals. I got you.
He spoke out against white people.
You proved me wrong. Got you. He spoke out against liberals. Got you.
I respect it. I respect integrity. Admit it.
I haven't heard any of the rest of you say you proved me wrong, but I'll admit to mine.
Liberals are white people.
Yeah,
I said you proved me wrong, so I dropped it, brother. That's what it is. You proved me wrong. You got me.
What you got to say, Victor? Is that your only point? You have anything anyone else wanted to say?
Yeah, man. I talk about emotional discipline all the time, man. Like you got to worry about what you can and cannot control. You know what I'm saying? There's a big difference in knowing what you can control versus what you can only influence. There's some people that are pretend and perform in front of you and then betray you even worse. So I don't even get down with that. I pay attention to people's behavior. I know some white people that I trust better than black people. I know some people of different ethnic groups that I trust better than different ethnic groups, and it boils down to their behavior and what they value. So, like the first people that's gonna do you in most cases, gonna be folks that you genetically related to, which in itself is a genetic fallacy. Which I understand what Vulcan is saying about that, because I think the family you create is better than the family that you come from in most cases for that particular reason. So I think discipline is the root of making the right choice and not putting your feelings into every one of your decisions that you make, because you might care about something that benefit people that don't even care about you.
All right. Well said, Victor. Let's segue to the next question. Mocking Charlie Kirk's death a fireable offense? Question. What's up, Kavi?
No, I mean it's ridiculous. I mean, it's not
we're
even worth
gonna do yes or
questioning.
no.
I get it.
Yeah.
No.
All right, Victor.
No, because free speech works both ways.
Will.
Is mocking Charlie Kirk's death a fireable offense? Like people from their job that got cut? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Let's remember merit based. Merit based.
All right, so Will Smith
with
says
that.
no. All right, no. So vote.
I say yes.
All right.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here.
All right, go first, man. He was getting tired. His mind was his mental was getting tired.
Hey, let me tell you why I say no.
Yeah.
Because you could do what you want to do, you know, but the company, whether or not that policy that you get fired for is as a show for cause, the company has the company has the range to do what they feel best represents the company, you know. Do I think that you should be fired? I mean, you're underneath a private company's opinion. So if the company says that you misrepresent the organization, that's on them, you know. Now, as far as do I feel like it's morally right? I think that's really something that people need to keep it for themselves. If people not performing their jobs, you know, due to like if you walk into a place of business and they choose not to serve you or help you or honor their work obligation because of your political alignment on this situation or your opinion, then that's something else. You know, that's way deeper than what most people are going to experience.
All right, let's bring before shout out. Ed, I say this. Bray was talking with a better way, so I think that he reached his threshold of the tolerance. Shout out to Kyrie. I appreciate you coming on. That was
my man rage quit.
Passion. That's what actually probably one of my favorite guests now, man. Oh, that's funny. He said if I work for Kavi and I go on social media and say he's an idiot, I'm okay. Shout out for him, man. Thank you for joining the platform. What's up, Will? Mark and Charlie first. You said no.
Man, I would think Charlie would even probably be like, nah, it's all right. Let him feel how he feel. I mean, you know, he wanted to be an advocate for that type of speech, and you know, he kind of made it seem as though it was too much sensitivity going around out here. So, you know, if somebody was to do that, how would he actually feel about it? Because I mean, how deep does it go? Remember when Kyrie just posted a video, didn't even, you know, put any context to it or caption. He just posted a movie or whatever, the title of a movie he saw, and you know, they had a problem with that. And how will you even know that there's going to be a problem with your employer based on what you're posting? It could be something that maybe mocks Charlie or people feel that it does, but it could be somewhat comedic. Man, I'm not gonna say his death is funny, but if somebody is doing maybe a parody like SNL will probably do, coming to who knows, you know what I'm saying? But just posting it and saying, well, yeah, you're mocking them, I don't know. That means everything that you post will probably come in question and you will get fired for everything. So, I mean, I seen a video that said, it was a black dude. He said Charlie Kirk died the same way he talked on stage or something like, or he died doing something, talking out the side of his neck or something like that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yo,
hold on, Will. They said I'm hearing that they can't hear the audio. So the people that's watching, you can.
I just checked it. I just checked it on YouTube. I can still, you can still hear it.
Okay.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Right,
somebody said Victor. I can't hear Victor, but Victor wasn't talking.
Yeah, I wasn't talking. I was muted.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, but yeah, so I want to say something real quick, and I mean, Victor took the words out of my mouth. I mean, he said it very clear and succinct. You know, I don't like the idea of somebody getting fired for what they're doing outside of the job. You got fired for stealing boxes on your day off. I'm never going to be comfortable with that, right? But I do like what Victor said. At the same time, companies have always exercised their right within the gray area of their SOPs, whatever you want to call them, to do those kind of things. I've seen men get fired for supposed domestic abuse. Supposed. Not this didn't go to the law. This didn't go to a courtroom. I've seen them see people get into intense argument and get fired. We talk about Don Imus. We've seen the Clippers owner get fired for. We saw the Clippers owner get fired for a recorded conversation on the phone. You see what I'm saying? So my point is saying that, and I'm not saying that stuff is wrong. I'm just saying that companies have always done that. And so why stop now if they think, because we can agree that based off what we've seen so far and the guys who believe that Charlie Kirk is racist, they haven't put a video up and been able to show grammatically, syntactically, based off what we see, that it was racist. I want to say this point right here. When it comes to explaining something, again, sorry, before I even say that, we all talk real loosely in casual conversation. We all think we are super geniuses and we're super critical thinking. Sometimes we're just flat out wrong. There's a science to everything, and I don't expect everybody to learn it. But anytime you're giving an explanation for something, whether it's an explanation to your wife or why you got home late, or you're explaining the video about whether he's racist or not, there's something called explanatory power and explanatory scope. That's how you determine which explanation describes the phenomena the best. You're not in the person's head, so you're not going to ever know. So we're judging people from the outside. The Bible says we judge, outside. God judges the heart, right? So that's what we're doing right now. So we use the science of explanatory power and explanatory scope to figure out what's the best explanation of what he was saying and why he was saying it. Grammatically, we didn't see him say it. Him calling somebody dumb is a political point. People call each other dumb on opposite side of the aisle all the time. That doesn't mean it's a racial thing. It could be racial. You don't know, and neither do I. So it's not a fireable offense to mock somebody for some companies. It is for other companies, and you better know where you work.
Okay.
I think when you've been around some real racists before, it just changes your perspective. And I think people's opinion is based on, like you said, scope and where they've been and what they've experienced. Because people can only speak from anecdotal experience, and they can enhance that anecdotal experience or the explanation of it with other follow-on literature, other conversations they hear, stories that they can talk about, and things that they can go seek out. But I believe that our scope of understanding of what racism actually is vastly different than people that would have existed in different decades. You know what I'm saying? So I think that is graduated, a lot. It doesn't mean that the original experiences don't exist or they're not valid. But like Cavi, before he got off, I talked to him multiple times about how kids that are in high school do not see racism the same way that my generation of men sees racism. I'm 46. I don't know what everybody else's age is up here, but like I know my parents didn't go to school with people other than just other black people, and my generation, when I went to high school, we were starting to go to school with each other. And I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, you know what I'm saying? From there. That's not necessarily where I live, but then where I live now is different. And I'm older. There's a couple people there's people in my neighborhood that's older than me. I live in kind of a retirement community, but I'm like a young retiree, I guess you could say. So my scope and spectrum of the world is different. My experience is different based on where I'm from. And it's not saying that I'm doing better than anybody or worse than anybody. I just know what I've seen, and I know that I treat people based on the way that they treat me. I care about behavior, and I go where I'm safe at. And people that have yet to, I guess, change their zip code, their opinion will not change either.
All right, let's get right. I'm gonna segue right. You got something vocal before we get to the next question?
Real quick, I just want to say, like Victor said, most people speak from their anecdotal experience, which is very true. And that's part of the purpose of the show, to get people to see it from a different vantage point outside of their experience, because it's such a limiting place. That's the point that I was making earlier to Kobe, is just that your anecdotal experience relies on, one, just your experience. Number two, your intellectual ability. Everybody has different cognitive abilities. They were talking about being in the military earlier. If you go in the military, you got to take the ASVAB. You know, some people score really, really low. Some people score really, really high. It's a type of IQ test. That's the purpose of it. So you take a low IQ person, not that there's anything wrong with them, they still have the same value as somebody who's high IQ in the eyes of God. But when they try to describe and ascertain the reality they're living in, it's not going to be as good as somebody who's more intellectually gifted because they can't take as much into account and they take some longer to absorb and the moments might pass them. So we got to understand that everybody's different. So not everybody's anecdotal experience is going to be as robust and as unbiased as somebody else who's, as Victor said, learning about how to think critically, learning how to filter out their biases, learning different kind of things that give them a more informed perspective of their own anecdotal experience. And that's part of the purpose of this show. I don't want to throw somebody's anecdotal experience out the window. I don't want to say you can know what somebody else knows who's in the anecdotal situation, but I want to say that both of them have knowledge. Some of it overlaps, some of it doesn't. But we got to understand that we got to filter out our bias, and we want to have it be objective and be taken credibly to among people who understand how to think logically.
Somebody got a question in the comments.
All right, one gunslinger 7575 question: what one opinion / value changed when you went into the military versus when you came out? Okay, that's not what we talking about. That's off the topic. But I mean, yeah, I want to. Victor's the only one that actually.
One value I can answer that.
Yeah.
One value that changed was the difference between relatives and family. Okay. Relatives, you can't control who you're genetically born to because that kind of feeds into the genetic fallacy conversation. Family is who you choose. Whoever you pour, like into or who pours into you, I consider to be family because everybody gets to cultivate their definition off their own experience. As far as like racial is concerned, the racial part kind of goes out the window. You treat people based on behavior, because if you made everybody the race that you wanted and if they still treated you like trash, then their race don't matter because people's trust is built off of conditional respect. And respect is the bottom floor, which means you come in, you respect everybody. I don't know Will background. I don't know Vulcan background. I don't know Eno's complete background, but I know I got enough emotional discipline to let these men talk and let them dwindle their respect away, no different than a credit score, and then I'll choose how to interact with them. And the minute that they reach a threshold that does not align with my morals and values, I'm not going to get into a tiff with them to make them respect me. I'm going to leave because I respect myself more than I care about trying to make them respect me.
All right. Thanks for the question. Thanks for the answer, Victor. With military experience. All right. So the next question was segue. Charlie Kirk is in any way responsible for his death? Is Charlie Kirk responsible for his death? Victor, you want to go ahead and go first?
Is Charlie Kirk in any way responsible for his own death?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Will.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Vulcan.
That's my guy Will right there, man. I'm gonna definitely say no.
Okay, so we got two no's. Will, since you the only one that say yes, go ahead. You got the floor.
Yeah, I mean,
concise.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to keep it, sweet. But I mean, Charlie Kirk was a religious man from what he stated. Follower of Christ and things like that. And I believe it says somewhere the power of life and death is in the tongue or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I might be quoting wrong, but it's somewhere in, huh?
No, you good.
Death and life is in the power. So you just
Yeah, so sometimes what we put out there, even unintentionally, or if we
So you think he spoke death?
I think that when you put on yourself, yeah. I mean, when you put it on yourself in this society, in this world right now, really at any time, to be somebody who is not afraid to unabashedly speak their belief to the world with conviction, and you have that kind of influence, you have to know that going up against opposition is going to be tough. You're gonna go up against some significant powers that be, especially doing what he was doing. So whenever you stand on it that strong, yeah, you're gonna be met with that type of force, and that comes along with, being in politics. The Mega Evers and all those type of brothers, man, Kennedys and all that. You get popped doing this because people care about what they care about, and this is life. People's life or death is coming through your policy or what you say and how you move out here. So when you moving like that, talking what you talk, that some of the things you say might be rubbing people the wrong way, even if you feel like it's good medicine for them or it's good food. You've given it to them, and some people don't agree with what you're giving them. So they gotta do a Dr. Sabi on you, man. They gotta come get you because not comparing him to Dr. Sabi in no way, but you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, you think it's medicine, like he was a medicine man,
All right.
And some people say they came for him because he was curing stuff. I don't know.
So let's I think we could just get to the next question then, because y'all.
No, I mean, if I had to add anything to it, the reason I say no is because, I mean, it's evident the man wouldn't have committed a crime against himself. He had too much to live for. Like, do I think that he was in a situation where he had enough situational awareness to know that his life was being threatened? That's one conversation that's completely different than causing your own death. This man he was moving in a responsible manner. So like what we're doing is blaming him for his own death. And then the irony of this is that's the same thing that people say when the police kill unarmed Black people. He wouldn't comply. And you use the same argument. We got to be careful of what we're green lighting. What happened?
That's different. That's different right there.
No, it's not. No, it's not different. It's not different. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you made your point based on how you felt. This is when you start getting into emotional interpretation. What happened to him was truly an act of terror, because people say, I wish folks would tell the truth. Well, we love people that speak the truth, and then they kill them. You can't have it both ways, because see, that's the same thing that, like, from 1964 to 1969, we lost Fred Hampton, JFK, RFK, MLK, and Malcolm X, and Sam Cooke is another. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of great men gone that was trying to do right by the culture, by society, and everything else, right? And did those men deserve what they got?
All right. So he said, so two questions. He said, do they deserve what they got? And I remember earlier you said it was different, Will. So go ahead and address what's different, and then answer the second. We can
okay. I mean, when a lot of times with the police, I guess I can see what you're saying. If we're calling the police, you know what I'm saying? If you're actually calling them and they're showing up, then yeah, you probably might get shot. That's the risk you take calling 911. But if you're just, not taking on, no. This is something Charlie Kirk chose to take on. So you chose to wear that responsibility of being a speaker, a steward of a whole ideology with a lot of people behind it. Me going to the store, being a Black man going to get a snack, you know what I'm saying? I mean, why do I deserve to get challenged about going to do that? I'm not out here trying to
let Victor
manipulate anybody's mind. I'm not being irresponsible as far as.
Well, Will, let's get Victor to respond to that. That's an interesting point you saying that Charlie Kirk chose to be the speaker and take these risks versus blaming.
So, like the same fallacy. What if somebody blamed you for choosing to go to the store at the wrong time?
Well, what is the right time to go to the store? I don't know. I mean, what is the right time?
When's the right time to speak your mind?
I think all the time you should speak your mind. That's not the problem. It's like one thing is
the problem is other people not maintaining their emotions.
Right, but based on two different things though. Like I can't help being a black man. I'm born like this. Charlie Kirk didn't have to be a politician. He could have stayed on with his wife and just chill. When you choose to be a public figure like that, lining up with what you line up with, like I don't know if I should use this irresponsible, but knowing that you're taking that job, you should be extra responsible with what you're doing. Like a lot of the irresponsibility came, I would say, in some of his studying, man. You know,
Let me respond to that. Let me respond to that.
Well, somebody's in the comments saying Charlie getting killed is not the same as police killing somebody. Okay, go to a different story. Go to a place where those police officers will be more friendly to you. My point is, nobody deserves to get convicted of their own murder. That's my point. I don't condone any of it. I don't live in a place where it's heavily policed, but some people do. So I don't say what people should or shouldn't do. But if I started talking like that, people eventually start getting offended. You don't see the police the way I see the and that's true. So I won't say that. But you know what you got to have enough reason to you have to understand. Remember what your grandmama used to tell you? It ain't what they call you, it's what you answer to. So what you're paying attention to. So what y'all offended by? It ain't no different than you choosing to listen to an artist that you like in music and then choosing not to. I don't listen to Boosie. He cool on a podcast or something, you know what I'm saying? But like I'm not riding around listening to Boosie. I don't, and that's no shout or negative thing. I just don't relate to his content or his music the way somebody else would. That got the same experience. This is why I said this is about sympathy and empathy. If you
Victor, he definitely cooking. You want to respond to that, Will? Because Victor made a lot of good points.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I see.
I still see it kind of the same way. You know, it's me. Not because think about it. You're born kind of plugged into this place. You know what I'm saying? It's like Avatar. You plugged into the planet.
Too, because like, and here's the other thing: police officers can't get mad if they get murked at work. You know what you signed up for. I was in the military. If I got blown up by the Taliban, I was the one that went in there. It ain't nobody else's fault. But what I'm saying is that in the line of what you're doing, that there's a fine line. I just don't believe, like, despite the risk, I don't believe that he did anything that warranted his murder. That's what I'm saying. Right, and that's the point. And I think the world ain't perfect. People ain't perfect, and people's emotions ain't perfect. So you get what you get. He even argued and said that gun deaths are the cost of the Second Amendment. And even so, it happened to him. All I'm saying is that no side of this situation is going to agree with everybody. You know what I'm saying? So I think what's more important is that we put these ideas that he didn't make a mistake or she didn't make a mistake or the system itself, whatever you want to use. None of this stuff is perfect, but at some point it's supposed to improve us based on the life that they lived. And if he did more good than bad, then I think we need to lean with that, because we don't even hold pedophiles as accountable.
All right. So let's wrap this up. Vulcan, you got anything you want to chime in and share?
Yeah, I just want to say, when they say that Victor is arguing bad faith because they're not the same, right? I just want to break this down so people can understand how analogies work logically. And I'm not saying it to say that this guy Isher doesn't understand it, but I want the audience to understand, because people typically will retort, that's not the same thing. That's not how analogies work. You're comparing two things that are different, and you're showing the parallels. You're showing the similarity in the two different things. That's how an analogy works. So Victor knows not the two same things. The question is the principle he's extracting from one the same principles he extracted from the other? And that's not to me to be condescending to the audience. We're going to understand that, but I just see it happen so many times in romantic relationships. That's the ssame thing, or even on the show. And it's like, look, he knows not the same thing. That's why he's comparing two different things in the first place. So I just wanted to say that point.
Yeah, exactly. Because the like I just said, people ain't perfect, situations ain't perfect, and the outcomes ain't perfect. But you could, if you can justify anything, then I can justify anything. and we're gonna see what makes sense. And then the same thing is too. I always say this to close out. Y'all are making excuses that you wouldn't allow your children to make.
That burns.
All right, so this all right for the last question for the show, man. Thank y'all for your patience. Last question tonight. Is Charlie Kirk a martyr for the gospel?
Yes.
Will.
Well, we just answering yes or no right now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Welcome.
No.
All right, let's get my
let me just say, because I put that question here. I just want to say why I put the question here, then we can get to it. So a friend of mine had tagged me on Facebook about something, and he had put a message on Facebook saying, if your church is not discussing Charlie Kirk, you need to find a new church. And then him and his wife messaged me, inboxed me, we text a little bit, whatever the case may be. And so I thought this would be a good question, because I know that's something that's happening out there in the real world and people need answers for. So, whoever wants to go first, I just want to give the audience a context of why that question is there specifically.
Here's the reason why I say yes. Because there's a vast majority of young people that have been heavily influenced by him between ages 16 to 25. And in a few years, when we're dead and gone, or our influence doesn't matter, they are going to say what they feel and what brought them to the gospel. You know what I'm saying? So to them, to a demographic of people that looked up to him, and they look up to him the same way a lot of fatherless men looked up to Kevin Samuels, because like red pill content that makes sense to a lot of men until Kevin Samuels was popular. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so when he was taken away, the same way Charlie Kirk was taken away, the energy was still there, and certain men that got the principles of both men's teaching, they rolled with it however they roll with it. Now, their interpretation of what's gospel and what's not comes down from, theologians to people that will argue about context of the Bible and, whatever, but some people are going to still talk about, like, I sure will not. He's talking about.
Let me make sure I understand you saying, Victor. You saying that because he had a huge follower from 16 to 25, that is.
I'm saying that those people that follow him will see him as such.
Okay, all right.
I'm just talking about perspective.
Okay, we got you. All right. Let me bring Will in here then, because I got you now as far as the perception too.
There's plenty of martyrs in the Bible already, so those are the ones they taught off of.
All right, let's bring Will in here. You say yes.
Yeah. I think, probably martyrdom from kind of the standpoint how we use it now. Like I think a lot of people can reach that status, but yeah, I don't know the qualifications before you reach that or exactly the definition of who and how long and how remembered they will be, but definitely somebody that is a marking in the minds of this time and this generation, and like he said, probably will be for a time to come.
Well, you said because the gospel is a specific thing. That's
right.
Biblical doctrine. That's Christianity.
Right.
Yeah. So that's. But I'm hearing people saying that's part how they looked at it, but it's not.
Well, I think that's why I said earlier, for me, it's a lot that goes into what I think about what he said, what he didn't say, what he was aligned with, and what he stood for at the core. See, when I think
at the core is the gospel. Are you saying that?
Right. And for me, when I think Christianity and race, it goes back further than just 400 years in America, man.
I think that might be another. That's going to be another topic.
Right. But when people talk about race and things that's transpired,
but I want to get Vulcan in there just to stick to Charlie Kirk being a martyr for the gospel. I want to stick to that. Vulcan, go ahead. You said no.
So yeah, I'm saying no. Well, first, let me address what's been said. Victor said he was speaking from a perspective standpoint. I do think he's right about that. I think that's kind of what my friend was tagging me in that post saying. that if your church doesn't address Charlie Kirk, then you need to find another church, because for most people, I think he's right. He did stand for the gospel. He was a part. He was stood up for the church, and that's the ontological base for all of his beliefs, all his political views and stance that he took. My issue with why I don't consider him a martyr for the gospel specifically is because in the Bible, people that were martyred doing the spreading of the gospel, or they were protecting the vulnerable. It was very specific. In the Roman Empire, it was illegal to be Christian, so they were being killed primarily because, as a Roman, you were required to submit to the Caesars as God, and it's to worship the Caesar in a way that Christians would not do. Same thing with Jews before Christians; they refused to bow to other gods, and sometimes that they would be deleted for that. Same thing goes for Christians, or they'd be protecting the vulnerable, and they would be deleted for that because of the gospel. But when you get involved in transgender conversations, gay, lesbian conversations, political stances, calling people dumb on platforms and stuff like that, you have left the proverbial gospel plantation. I'm not saying he's wrong for doing that. You know, we need people to be in the political arenas and all that different kind of stuff and doing those kind of things. I would never say he's right to call somebody dumb. You were never going to hear me just call somebody dumb, because that's corrupt speech. We shouldn't be doing that. Now maybe foolish might be more accurate if you're related to something that they're actually saying. But my point is saying that he was killed, and the guy he was the leader. We understand why. I just watched on the news recently. The guy who did it, he was writing to his roommate about why he did it. It was because he felt like he was full of hate based off the political stances that he was taking. He didn't say, I've been at jobs where somebody told me, I don't like you because you're Christian. If he would have took my life, that'd have been because of the gospel. You know what I'm saying? Because what I was sharing with them. Now, if I told him, hey, look, this is how you should run your company, and you're not running it the right way, and it should be theocratic as opposed to democratic or whatever it is, somebody takes me out for that. That's not the gospel. That's something else. And it's not something that's bad either. It's not bad. It's just something that's different than the gospel. And so I just want to make that distinction, because I love what Victor said, and it helped me to see it in an even more clearer way. You got to be careful what you greenlight. If you start saying people can talk about anything, but as long as their base is the gospel, then everybody's dying for the gospel, as long as they said that they were, believing in the gospel when they were doing what they were doing. A lot of musicians say they make the music they make. Diddy, as an example, God bless, for God, he does it on every award show. Does that mean that if he passed away doing his musical thing, that he died for the gospel? No, it doesn't. And so I just want to make that distinction, because I don't want to greenlight everybody attributing everything that somebody does that gets them eliminated to, well, they did say they believe this and they've always talked about God or whatever it is. So that's my stance on that.
All right, let Vulcan go ahead. I'm sorry, let Victor go ahead with the rebuttals, and we can close this out.
I believe he was a martyr for free speech. Let's just at a minimum, he died representing the Constitution. You know what I'm saying? I think that but if you also go study him, he talked about how he believed that the United States was a Christian nation. And I'm just speaking objectively, okay? So by default, with him understanding what his space was and what he understood and how to explain it, even to other theologians, even to other well-established, like high-end critics and on numerous debates, I think his conviction is what makes him a martyr. I think anybody can say that he was a martyr. Very few of us have died for anything. And most people won't even live right for their own kids. I think that men are supposed to push the line. I don't think men are supposed to be moderates. I don't think we're supposed to be quiet. I think men are meant to teach and correct and stand on business. And whoever it offends, that's their problem. Nobody owes us anything. And I don't give a damn if you think somebody's a racist or not. People don't never want to stop and talk about what made Hitler flip, and I'm not justifying that, but we are not doing the critical thinking and putting stuff in a box where it needs to go, because plenty of times that we done said something that we can't be redeemed from, and nobody knows who we are in a character sense. But what didn't have to happen was that man that was a father and a husband have his life taken from him because he didn't do that to anybody. I don't know if he inspired somebody else to do that to someone else and be able to say Charlie Kirk was responsible for this. You know, I haven't seen that. So just like a lot of people haven't seen anything that can push him over the edge of being convicted and like saying that he's a racist or just even making it a middle ground, I think you have to take it both ways. And that's the problem. Everybody wants everything that makes them feel good.
All right. Let me get this. Sorry, I was pulling up a video. So, Will, you want to go ahead and?
Yeah, man. I just want to give.
Before you go, Vogue, you
Oh,
want to do this one video? I just seen this, or you want to just what direction you want to go?
I think Will should go, but just so everybody knows, somebody sent us an email to our podcast email and just shared the video that gives the full context to one of the Charlie Kirk's videos.
Okay.
Then it says stacks. It says stats and facts.
Okay. Let me see if I can see
Your
that.
stats and facts been riding with it all night.
All right. Why they got damn dash looking like that? All right. Let me see if I can pull this up.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. No, it's only 2 minutes. All right, so here we go, y'all.
Yeah.
Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color, but I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
I hear because of action affirmative. She can't even say that. We know. It's very obvious to us that you were not smart enough to be able to get in on your own. I couldn't make it on my own, so I needed to take opportunities from someone more deserving. You know, this is how arrogant Joy Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee are. They're so narcissistic, they think this is persuasive. They think we're like, oh, of course. That's why we need affirmative action, because you have impressed us with your brilliance. Of course. Oh, no. Imagine the world without Joy Reid. Imagine the world without Sheila Jackson Lee or Michelle Obama or Ketanji Brown Jackson. They think this is persuasive. They think as they kind of now reveal that I'm only here because of anti-white, anti-Asian forced discrimination policies that turned me into a bitter, resentful activist that hates white people, honestly, through our pop.
All right, so that was the video that Kavi was playing earlier. So
yeah, I've seen that clip so many times. It's been clipped up. Like the longer it goes, the more I just want to watch the entire thing, because I felt like he was just being theatrical, you know what I'm saying? And I do believe that it's laced with his opinion in there as well. But like, I've seen other what's the dude named Jesse Lee Peters? He be saying some wild stuff too. Charleston White say wild stuff about us all the time, you know what I'm saying? And he you know,
Dr. Boyce Watkins does it. A lot of people do it.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's for the camera, but like we get real. This is why I say we too soft and we too sensitive. And I ain't even apologize for it. I'm just very, very careful about boxing myself into, you know what I'm saying, whatever opinion based on some clips, especially when I know I know that there's so much information out here. If you study the wrong thing for too long, you will brainwash yourself, you know. And for the record, for everybody's watching, I've worked in intelligence for 22 years, and I've worked as in PsyOps for over 3 years. So I'm very, very careful about narratives and what we teach people. We need social media literacy, bro, because we have become new tabloids. You know, like when you used to go look at the Sun and everything else. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like it's easy to call a spade when that's what you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to call a spade, you can make anything a spade. But most people ain't sitting down doing the extra work. Nobody want to talk about Martin Luther King and how he was, you know what I'm saying, a whole bunch of other things. But we still want to keep riding off of I have a dream, but y'all don't know he used to be in orgies. He liked white women.
Oh, all right. Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
All right. So
talk about that.
all right. So go ahead, Will. As far as any thoughts, this should close statements. Any thoughts about the video we just played, and your reasons? You know, the Charlie Kirk being a martyr for the gospel. Just go ahead, keep it concise, and let's close it out.
Yeah, man. It's just my lens, like I say, is a little different. It's just a lot of things that is hard to rule in and say, okay, moving this way kind of puts you in that situation to say you're doing everything that pretty much the gospel has required. Like, I don't know, honestly, man, y'all got to help me with this. You know, pretty much saying that he's moving in the spirit of Christ and he want people to be believers. Just that word alone coming from, you know, a middle-aged or all close to middle-aged white man in America, it almost sounds skeptical on his own. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know why is weird to feel that way when everything else points to that's what it being how you should feel. You see what I'm saying? And that's just not now here in America. Like, this is something that's been brewing. And he's a guy that wants to say, okay.
About 2-3 minutes. Go ahead, Rep.
Oh, okay. But I'm saying for him to be a guy that says, yo, I want to keep certain information hidden, not teach this in schools anymore. I'm sorry, but that comes to mind more often when I think of the Christian way worldwide than anything else, than anything beneficial. When you look at the top 3 heads of this particular thing, it's as much bad to say as it is good. So for him to move how he moving and saying, I want to suppress information, it reminds me of them talking about the burning of the Library of Alexandria, you know, back in Egypt, man. Like, that was the biggest knowledge heist, they say, in history. You harvested a lot of information. They say a lot of it is still around in the Vatican, allegedly. But what he's a part of, what he's a part of, whether we want to believe it or not, I think sounds more logically sound to say, okay, I'm here to make more disinformation and subjugate people because we've done this for centuries, than to say I'm here to really push forward an agenda where we all come together and be the greatest America we could be, because we've never been anything close to that. We've never been anything close to that. So why am I going to believe you say you're pushing something for the
you got to all right. So Vulcan, last statement on this topic, and then everybody will get their close statements just all together. So this topic, the video that was just played, or what else you gonna say?
I don't have anything more on the Charlie Kirk martyr for the gospel conversation. I think I covered it pretty well. Okay. I do agree with what Victor said about it. I think he definitely was a martyr for free speech. I definitely would think he was a martyr for open dialogue. One thing I appreciate about people like Charlie Kirk and people that are like him, whether you agree or disagree with him, even the Turks, you know, is on the left and the right side of the Turks, all the people that have that dialogue, that are willing to go and debate and have their ideas examined, I respect that. Because it's easy to stand on your bully pulpit and say what you want to say, and nobody can decipher it, and you can create little minions of you. But when you go on that stage and you go against somebody and they're able to cross-examine you, they're able to evaluate what you're saying and call you out. To me, that's the best thing we can get without going to blows or having to take up arms. So I respected Charlie Kirk for that. He was definitely a martyr for all those things.
All right. So we're gonna start with you. We'll close the statements of the show all together. Oh,
Yeah.
With the show all together,
Okay.
concise, 2 minutes.
Okay.
2
Okay.
minutes. Just
Two
whatever that's
minutes, real quick, man. I'm gonna go off what we just said, then I'm gonna sum it up all the way in general. I also heard a quote of him saying somewhere, basically, paraphrasing, they wanted the American way of life, something where our kids can ride their bikes till the sun goes down. And I want to say, I know he said it, but I don't want to misquote him. He said something about not having our kids have to be next to some kids praying 5 times a day. He said we want the American way of life, the Christian way of life, something like that. But he mentioned somebody of another religion, maybe another kid, and an issue with them praying 5 times a day next to their kid, or have to worry about school being interrupted for praying 5 times a day or something.
All
That's
right.
totally not respecting somebody else's belief system and saying you want a country to operate a certain way based under the guise and the religion that it's always operated under. And that goes to keep people misinformed and basically be disingenuous about letting all the knowledge be disseminated and bringing us together. So to me, when you say stuff like that, that's very telling about what you want to do. So I'm not saying he deserved to die, because I believe in free speech, man. Say what you got to say, whatever. Just know that whatever comes with that may come with that, but I don't believe he deserved to die, but some of the message and the way he moved and that ideology does need to cease. That's a fact.
All right, appreciate you, Will, man. Definitely appreciate it. You know what? Before you go, Victor, I'm gonna just give my thoughts and you can
go ahead, Enos.
Yo, good. Dala is definitely intense. Like I definitely want to, like again, thank Kabi was on here and Franco was on here. But like I said, I know it seemed a little harsh even me cutting people up for the audience. We gotta get back into the flow of things of going back and forth, addressing ideas, and focus on the question and the ideas itself. That's what I want to. Why I signed up for the show, and I want to implement that in our culture. And I said that in the introduction. I said this. I said, look out for the sophistries and the sophistries. The sophistries that's been displayed out here. That's in the background noise. That's been displayed out here. In the academic world and on the social media world, but these ideas are built in your head, and a lot of times we don't question these things, and it actually navigate our lives without our knowing. And I think Charlie Kirk is one of the few people that did challenge those institutions that's in your head. He is one of those guys, and you do that in the form of the debate. And that's why I respect about him. I respected that he was willing to debate and get his ideas challenged in front of the world to judge. And the people decide, okay, was this right or wrong? So that's my thoughts on Charlie Kirk and, what we was doing today on the show. But Victor?
All right. I think that first and foremost, we got to stop making excuses that we wouldn't allow our children to make, and stop deflecting. If somebody has an opinion and then you challenge the opinion and then you deflect to, well, they said it, you didn't say anything about them. There's no different than a child, in my opinion. I think that we have to point inward. I think we trauma dump too much on topics. We wait for something significant to happen to a person, and now we get to dump everything that we feel about something else that we're not even addressing. I think our main issue in our culture is poor sexual discipline, but now we care more about a man that we didn't know 4 or 5 days ago. We're giving all this attention to somebody that had a family and his own following, and y'all weren't even paying him no attention before then. I think also too, as far as like the DEI topics and education gaps and everything, we got people that we celebrate coming home from prison more than we got people that we celebrate for graduating school. I could point out quite a few things that we can correct behaviorally in our own culture, if that's what we want to call it. But if somebody got up that wasn't that didn't represent our appearance, our phenotype, talking about Bob Marley, Nipsey Hussle, Tupac, or anybody else that's been, I use Chinks drugs, whatever, anybody that we can relate to from that we identify as somebody that was a good person that we lost for whatever reason, whatever value system that we have for them, we would have a problem. And I think we need to learn how to mind the businesses on our own paper. I don't think we need to pay attention to people that don't respect us. If you believe these people don't respect you, then why you paying them any attention? You can't do nothing about it. So what we need to be more focused on is the stuff that we can control and then distinguishing that from which we can influence. And right now we live in a matriarchal society and we got a bunch of emotional men that you cannot get on the same sheet of music. And that is an issue. That is what I think is an issue. But somebody going to attack me for that, because I think a lot of these dudes out here ain't nothing but male baddies with no daddies. And they act just like the women that raised them. And that's a bigger issue than anything Charlie Kirk ever said. These women out here in our culture are making babies with the wrong men before they make a sandwich for the right one. And we over here trying to figure out why he feel the way he feel about people, by other black women and other black people that don't even care about their own people. They care about performance. They care about affiliation, their phenotype, and how it makes them look. But they don't care about you either. So our worship for money, entertainers, and athletes, it ain't doing nothing but dividing us, because we can't hear the other person and we can't be taught, we can't be corrected. So until those people want to address that part, fix your own house first, make your own family come together first, and then keep your opinions about what other people say where it matters.
Okay. Thank you for that, Victor. Thank you for that, Will. Vulcan.
The show was live today, man. I loved every bit of it. Kavi, had some energy with them. Franco did as well. Will always has an interesting perspective, and you never know where he's going to fall on different issues. Sometimes you know, sometimes you don't. And then Victor always Mr. Consistent, always about productivity, always about what's going to move everything forward. Let's stop the unproductive yip-yapping and get to what's going to build. And we need people like that in the culture, those people that pave the way for everybody else. My approach is, even though I appreciate Victor's approach to things, my approach is I'm thinking about the words we're saying, how we're communicating, and obviously all of us care about that, but I just care about it and I want to focus on it more, because when we speak loosely in conversation with our spouse, with our kids, people, sometimes, they take from it something different than what we intended. I remember this, one of my favorite pastors used to always say, whatever the parents do in moderation, the kids will do in excess. Whatever the parents do in moderation, the kids are going to do in excess. And so a lot of times we speak things loosely, or we go, oh, he's a racist because he said that. If somebody were to take that, like he said, if your kid were to say that, but take race out and put another ism in there, another ist in there, we tell our kids, hey, like, you can't say that person's mean because they did that to you. They did that because that was their toy. Whatever's going on. You can't, when you lose the game, get mad and take your ball to go home. You see what I'm saying? Well, I'm black and those kids are white. You're going to be like, well, it doesn't matter if they're black and white. This is the principles we live by. And my point is, when we look at it in the social arena, the political arena, we start to bend the rules and change the rules so that our team, whatever we think our team is, can win and be on top. And we don't lose. We lose the integrity of our conversation and our credibility. And to me, I want to put that above everything else. If what I'm saying, if my team loses, but my team lost and the right team won because they were just better, that's what it is. And so for me in the conversation, we're breaking down what Charlie Kirk is saying. If he didn't say it in a racist way, he didn't say it in a racist way. That doesn't mean he's not a racist. You'll never hear me on this thing. I'm not saying he's not a racist, or he is. I'm saying what he said wasn't racist, or there's explanations that are just as good or better as to what he is than the racist one based off what he said. The video we just watched again, he said, getting in. If right now, me, Victor, Enos, and Will start at school, and we set up a criteria, and we let a small group of people get in without meeting that criteria, whether it's legacy, our kids get in for free. Kids are going to call our kids, you got in here for this reason. That's the real world. Nepotism could be considered a form of nepotism. Now, we put in our rule book that's going to be a little bit more tougher debate. But on the ground level with the kids, they're still going to say, we know why you got in. You see what I'm saying? My point is saying we got to be honest about that. Affirmative action, DEI, whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, some blacks didn't agree with it. Some whites didn't agree with it. Some blacks did agree. Some whites did agree with it. That doesn't make you a racist if you have a difference of opinion. You got to analyze why they're saying they believe it to determine if they're a racist. It's got to be based off the reasons they give, not the stance they took. And that's what I think we lose in a lot of this rhetoric and sophistry that we're hearing online. And if you can claim something about somebody without having to prove it, or by taking their words out of context, then it can be done to you. And how are you going to feel when it's done to you or somebody you love and care about? This is what the Vulcan Soapbox is about. Pathos, logos, ethos. We got to do things the right way.
They said the same thing about Kevin Samuels.
Yes, sir.
He was racist?
No, that he was wrong or he hated black people. They said he hated black women and he didn't.
Yep. That's a fact.
All his ladies black, ain't they? All his baby's moms and his kids' mother and all that. I think they were black. Well, I don't know. I was just guessing.
I think he was married
to thing. This the thing. This is the thing to Victor's point. Even though he was raised by a black woman, had all these black women, just like a white guy can be like, I got a black wife, I got black kids, all my friends are black. We still will say, yep, you're suspected racist. So if you take Kevin Samuels out and put a white guy in that situation, the white guy can't say that. You know what I'm saying? So my point is saying we got to be consistent to Victor's point, and I agree with Victor's saying about that.
I think if the white guy moved like Charlie Kirk, like he was married to black women, had black kids, but moved like Charlie Kirk, that would seem like he would be in agreement with everything that would be detrimental to his children. That would definitely make him a racist. You know, I think we take the totality of how Charlie moved.
We're gonna do part two.
Yeah, the totality. Like, why did he say Muslims can't pray with his kids here in America? You know what I'm saying?
You need to get the clip before we talk about that again.
Yeah. Let's until next time, y'all.
Yeah,
all right, fellas.
I'm here to stand on my soapbox and proclaim that to the world.
On this show.
This is the hottest show on the planet right now.
What's the debate?
Ain't no debate.